Today, a different Ross on the mound. Detweiler returns to the rotation after nearly a month off. Time to string together some wins and fly east with momentum on the Nats side.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
Two very important things up for grabs for the Nats in Denver today. First of all, a series win. Secondly, getting that record back over 500. Some momentum as Jeff Coburnis will start again today. And the Nets about to head off to Cleveland. Bob and FP, welcome to Coors Field, where last night, no blasting away. It was all about the pitching. And recently, the Nats have won some games that give you the feeling that some things are starting to trend in the right direction.
Yeah, you get the feeling that things are turning around. It's been a slow drip for the Nationals this season. I think a lot of people expecting them to win 100 games in the month of April, but it all started on May 31st. That first game against the Atlanta Braves where they won 3-2, a little untuckage at the end of the game, kind of got everybody feeling this might be heading in the right direction.
Seems like the Nats haven't played at home a whole lot lately, but when you've got a winning run at third base and a contact guy, Lombardozzi, at the plate, get Adam LaRoche home, get a walk-off win, and it felt awfully good for the guys to come flying out of that dugout. And the usually reserved Lombardozzi pumping things up as well.
Well, the first walk-off win of the year led to the first comeback of down 3 runs or more, and that was the second game of the doubleheader against the Minnesota Twins. Showed some fight, showed some late life, and that's something that everybody in D.C. got used to in 2012.
And over the course of a long season, when teams are going well, things come from unexpected sources. Ross Ohlendorf, fantastic in a hitter's ballpark here last night.
I mean, one of the most exciting games of the year, just for the fact that you didn't see that coming. Ross Ohlendorf with a huge shot in the arm for everybody in that third base dugout.
All right, so today the call goes to that other Ross. His name is Detweiler, hasn't pitched in a while, and we sort of saw some things on a couple consecutive starts. He just wasn't moving around, not only throwing but covering first base.
Yeah, left-handed Ross takes the ball today for the Nats, but it was the start before this in L.A. against the Cubs at home where we had a shot of him covering first base. You saw him wince a little bit. We were speculating what was wrong. Turned out to be that nagging oblique for Detweiler. He hasn't seen the mound since May 15th. Excited to be back out there today in Colorado. Like I said yesterday, that sinker plays here in Denver, and that's what Ross Detweiler will be featuring today against the Rockies.
And a great ERA of 2.76 despite the losing record. He's 0-2 career against Colorado. How about athletes at shortstop on display in this series? Troy Tulowitzki, 2 hits here on Tuesday night and some outstanding glove work as well. But how about our guy, Ian Desmond, in this series? 3 for 6, 4 RBIs, and he'll dive to rob some guys of base hits as well. Still have some haze, though, and some ash blowing around this area from the wildfires out in the foothills. But good day for baseball. The Nats are looking for a series win. That would be great on the road. Now, if they don't homer today, who would have thought that the home run series streak could end in a place like this? Bullpen's been great lately. And then Ryan Zimmerman, Jason Worth, and Ian Desmond. They've all hit career home runs against Jeff Francis and combined putting out some big numbers against him today. Third baseman, couple of hits, couple of RBIs, couple of walks in this series. Here's Julie with more on Ryan Zimmerman.
Hey, well, I did get a chance to catch up with Ryan Zimmerman earlier today, and I asked him, what do you like most about playing at this field? And he said, it's one of my favorite places to play. I look forward to it each year, to this exact road trip, because you can take advantage of cheap hits. Now, he's doing excellent here at Coors Field. He's got 7 home runs, 31 RBIs, and he's currently batting .363. So he's having a fantastic series, and obviously he knows that this is the place to get this offense started. He said, hopefully this will be the spark that these guys need. Take it on the road with them. Take that momentum moving forward. So he's super excited about it, guys. He said you have to adjust a little bit. Obviously, the heat here, it takes a toll on you, but he's looking forward to a great series. There is much more coming up from Coors Field. Rockies Nats coming at you after this.
Masson brought to you by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. First base gate, that's Blake Street here in downtown Denver. Are they the Blake Street Bombers? Well, last night the Nats kept them from doing much of anything. Great pitching by Ohlendorf and the bullpen. Now today it's Ross Detweiler's turn. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. Hard to stop a train, really hard. So it's 82, low humidity. But there is haze in the area with the fires taking place both to the north and the real serious stuff to the south of us. Nationals are hitting .235 now. Starting lineup brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Anthony Rendon, couple of hits last night. 11 for 27 over this 7-game streak of his. He's 3 for 8 with an RBI in this series. And in fact, Ian Desmond also 3 hits. LaRoche has a couple, Zim a couple. And the Nats doing some good offensive things in situations last night. Jeff Francis has started 7 times against the Nats in his career. 4 no decisions, a 1-2 with a 4.81 ERA.
Yeah, big, tall, lanky left-hander, 6'5" Jamie Moyer type. Fastball top out at 88, 89 miles an hour. He'll hump up on it to that speed, a 2-strike count. He uses his off speed to set up the fastball. Cuts the fastball into right-handers. Big, slow, looping curveball to steal a strike early in the count. You got to elevate him. Lots of changeups in hitting counts. Set the defense for the Rockies today behind Francis. Gonzalez, Fowler, Kadire in the outfield. Tulowitzki, Arenado on the left side. LeMahieu, Pacheco on the right side. And Willeen Rosario doing the catching.
Yeah, they get a little extra thump in their lineup with Michael Kadire back in there. He's on a 10-game hitting streak. Hasn't played in a couple of days. but he's had some problems with a cervical disc this year. Had him on the DL back late in May, and he's back, and he gives the Rockies plenty of sock in the middle of that lineup. 6-year veteran James Hoy has the plate today. John Hirschbeck, the crew chief, at first. Bob Davidson at second. Lookout pitchers, and Jim Reynolds working third base. Denard Span in this series, just 1 for 8, but a couple of walks and 2 RBIs. And he has an on-base streak going of about a week or so. They play shallow with the corners, respecting his speed and bunting ability. And that's a strike on the inside corner. We're underway at 3:11 Washington time with the finale of this 3-game series.
Now trying to win the series, getaway day win. Braves idle today, trying to get it to 5.5.
Big slow breaking ball.
Now the breaking ball be in the 60s from Francis, so if you're a Nats hitter today, good day to stay back and think about going the other way.
And by the way, the Giants will be in Atlanta this weekend. Nats will be playing interleague, so there's some opportunity out there to gain ground. That's inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Francis, career 69 and 77. And he's had some good season for the Rockies. 14 wins in 05, then 13 and 17. But the lowest ERA he had during those 3 years was 4.16. It was as high as 5.68. So he's enjoyed some run support over the years when he's been successful. Went to Kansas City for a year in 2011. 24 starts for the Rocks last year when he went 6 and 7. A 5.58 ERA. Jeff Coburnis is next, and then Ryan Zimmerman here, top of the first. Breaking ball, Span waited for it and bounces it to DJ LeMahieu. So a definite situation where Nats hitters need to gear it down a little bit today against this soft tossing veteran. Jeff Coburnis has walked and has a base hit in the series, 1 for 3. On base twice last night, and he scored the Nationals' 2nd run.
Well, he's doing a nice job for himself early in his major league career. Adding something to the lineup, doing a little something to help the ball club win. He's played a nice outfield, adds speed to the lineup, adds some young energy to the Nats lineup as well.
I can't really think of one at bat where he's appeared to be overmatched. He's 3 for 10 with a couple of walks. He's only struck out once. On the 0-2, he's going to strike out for the 2nd time. He didn't like the call. James Hoy giving Jeff Francis that low strike. 2 outs.
Well, he'll speed you up with 2 strikes. Go to that reach back fastball. In his case, gets it up to 89 miles an hour. So you'll see soft, kind of lull you to sleep to get to that 2-strike count. Then that 85-mile-an-hour fastball will turn into 89.
You know what, FP? That's okay if Ross Detweiler gets that call, because you need that call at Coors Field. Here's Zimmerman. Big breaking ball, flutters in. Ryan, as mentioned, along with Worth and Desmond, great career success against Francis. 9 for 19 with a homer, 4 RBIs. This will be out of play to the right side.
Now, you ask major league hitters, you'd much rather face a guy throwing 94, 95 miles an hour, a guy that you're used to seeing every day, that velocity that you get used to. Then all of a sudden you get a guy that's what I call BHS, below hitting speed, like Jeff Francis, to where the fastball is 85, the curveball's in the 60s, and the changeup's in the 70s.
He's getting guys 0-2 here.
He's got all the decades covered.
High fastball, and at 88, Ryan Zimmerman couldn't reach it. Jeff Francis off to a good start, and we welcome Ross Detweiler back to the rotation. Runs, home runs, and steals. Versatile offensive ball club with lots of power. Dexter Fowler, 10 for 23 over his last 5 games. Gets his on-base average up to 395, 6th best in the league. But the Nats have pretty much held him in check in this series, 1 for 7 with a pair of walks. Todd Helton not in the lineup today. Michael Kadire back. Jordan Pacheco gets the start in place of Helton at first base. Ross Detweiler, 3 career appearances, 2 starts against the Rockies. High 6.5 ERA, 0-2, but that was really a different stage of his career when he last faced them. It's been a while, so since August of 2011, and we like to think Ross Detweiler is a different guy than he was back then.
He hasn't started a game since May 15th because of that nagging oblique strain, but after throwing 60 pitches in a rehab start at Potomac over the weekend, ready to go. Fastball, curveball, change. It was that fastball 90% of the time. That changeup only 2% of the time this year, where he threw it a lot more last year. So we'll see if that 2-seam fastball down and away to right-handers is working out of the gate for Ross Detweiler.
Fowler hitting at 299, jumps on the first one, hits it well to right, and it is beyond the reach of Jason Worth. Plays the carom well, 1 pitch, leadoff double. As Fowler probably knew a guy coming off the deal wants to throw a first pitch strike, and he did good things with it.
Well, Ross Detweiler right now thinking, I waited a month for this. First pitch of the game, Dexter Fowler all over it, ambush mode. Goes the other way. That's the jet stream here at Coors Field, right center field. Worth giving it a chase, but a leadoff double here in the first for the Rocks.
That'll bring in Jordan Pacheco, first baseman. '27-year-old right-handed hitter out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Played at the University of New Mexico for the Lobos in the Mountain West. And in this series, he's just made 1 appearance, and that was Tuesday night when he had a pinch hit and scored a run in part of that 5-run 5th inning that really gave the Rockies control of that 8-3 win. He's hitting .283. Late swing, and he almost took out Carlos Gonzalez, and that ball might have hit Carlos on the way by.
He got him.
I saw it deflect, and then it hit the backstop, and the ball out toward second base, and Carlos Gonzalez is down, holding his left leg.
Well, this is tough to get. Let's see what we can see right here. It happens so fast. Just kind of a shank right there. Try to go the other way to move the runner. Pacheco way late, and it got Carlos Gonzalez in the leg. I have never seen that happen.
Well, we've seen a lot of near misses over the years, and a lot of guys from the on-deck circle will come even closer behind home plate to get a better look at the pitcher and the angles. But I mean, if that it was a bit of a glancing blow, FP, because it hit him, then hit the wall and ricocheted out to second base. But he obviously got enough of that to be hurt. And there is a nervous murmur in the crowd right now. And tested to see if he can put any weight on that at all.
Walt Weiss has to be wondering what is going on. And nobody feels worse than Jordan Pacheco right now. He's going to walk over and see if Carlos Gonzalez is okay.
You know, the Rockies are going to be careful if there's any doubt whether or not he can remain in this game. And he's walking back to the steps of the dugout and heading up into the clubhouse, it appears. You cannot take a chance with a player of that stature.
Well, he might be taping it up, but you would think with Pacheco in the middle of an AB right here in a 1-1 count, there isn't a whole lot of time to treat that thing. Troy Tulowitzki going to move into the on-deck circle.
Yeah, because at least by rule, somebody has to be there. And he's the hitter after Gonzalez.
Weird.
Here's Troy Tulowitzki. He's a good 10 feet in toward home plate from the on-deck circle as well. The count's 1-1, and Detweiler throws a fastball that misses inside. Really, the Rockies only have one other outfielder on their bench. They only have a 4-man bench, and that's Tyler Colvin. Detweiler delivers, and that ball getting around late. Pacheco fouling it again.
Now, Jordan Pacheco trying to stay back right here in the fastball, go the other way, move the leadoff double. He just kind of waits a little bit too long and takes it out of Kurt Suzuki's glove, maybe off the end of the bat. You see down the right-hand corner, down goes Gonzalez. And he is not in the on-deck circle. It's Tyler Colvin.
Yeah, playing with a short bench, as I mentioned. They've got 8 guys in their bullpen. It's a bouncing ball up the middle that'll be a good at bat for the Rockies. It'll move Fowler over to third base with 1 out, handled by Ian Desmond. And here comes Colvin to bat for Carlos Gonzalez.
Set the defense for the Nationals today here in Colorado. Coburn is Span Worth in the outfield. Desmond, Zimmerman on the left side. Rendon, LaRoche on the right side. And Kurt Suzuki behind the dish. Weird start to this game.
So really, Todd Helton and Jonathan Herrera, the only position players left on the Colorado bench now. And here's Tyler Colvin, who last night went 0 for 3, but he hit 2 homers and drove in 4 runs here on Tuesday night. He bats with 1 out and a runner at third, and he taps one off his foot.
Well, you wonder how loose Tyler Colvin is. Neither team took batting practice today. Day game after a night game. He's sitting on the bench, say, well, I'm going to watch a big league game today, probably get loose in the 5th inning, get ready for a pinch hit appearance. And then just like that, bottom of the 1st, not a whole lot of time to get loose. He's in a major league ball game.
Tyler Colvin has never faced Ross Detweiler. Colvin 3 for 11, 2 homers, 6 RBIs since his recall. And he will go to left field, and that's a base hit. He will replace Carlos Gonzalez and put the Rockies on top. That's his 5th RBI of this series.
So I guess it's that easy, huh? Just grab a bat, throw a helmet on, get up there against a mid-90s left-handed fastball, line it in left, put your team up by 1.
1 on, 1 out, and Troy Tulowitzki will be next. He has faced Ross Detweiler 4 times, 2 base hits. Tulowitzki 2 for 8 in the series, those 2 harmless singles on Tuesday night. He is second in the league, batting .347. And Detweiler falls behind a dangerous hitter in a dangerous place, 2-0.
I would think the main concern with Ross Detweiler and the oblique issues today is covering first base, kind of moving around on bump plays. And that's where we saw him kind of hobbling around. That start against the Cubs, the start against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Maybe not about throwing the baseball, but having oblique strains myself, it's about the running part, to where you start to really move that midsection running around. That's when you put some stress on the injured area.
Tulowitzki, fantastic on base percentage of .414. As we mentioned, Michael Kadire back in their lineup today. Only Joey Votto and Shin Sin Chu have higher on base percentages than Troy Tulowitzki. Right behind Yadier Molina. 2-man race right now. Those other guys are almost all at least 18 to 20 some points behind. Tulowitzki also 3rd in home runs and 4th in RBIs. 3-1 pitch. That's a strike. He thought it was ball 4.
And you see all the middle infielders in that list. I think a batting average right now, it's all about shortstops and second basemen in the National League. Gets a break on that call, a little bit outside. Scudero, Segura, Tulowitzki.
And one catcher, Molina, having a storybook year. 3-2 pitch. And Ross Detweiler blows it by Troy Tulowitzki. It's his 24th strikeout of the year. 2 outs, and Mercedes-Benz will track this heater.
That's some good late hop on this 93 from Ross Detweiler. Challenge fastball. Tulowitzki with a big swing at a 3-2 count. Tardy on the 93.
Michael Kadire. Part of the Rockies offense after coming over from Minnesota last year. He hit 260 here, drove in 58 runs, but he only played in 101 games. He was on the DL twice with a right oblique, early August and then late August, and really not available for them down the stretch, but he's a 271 career hitter. And he's hit 10 home runs this year. Big, strong, 33-year-old right-handed hitter. Target in. Detweiler way down and in. Kurt Suzuki had to shift over to grab it.
You think Ross Detweiler shaking off some rust here in the first inning. Been a while. Talked about that 60 pitch start in Potomac, but when you miss a month, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, it takes a second to get in that groove.
That is serious. Maybe severe damage. Busted bat, little pop fly. Rockies pick up a run. Worth, LaRoche, and Desmond ahead. Nats down by 1 early. A couple of hits, and now the second inning is presented by Luna. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. Tyler Colvin will stay in the ball game and play left field, and we'll await a report from the Rockies on Carlos Gonzalez.
Colvin trying to become a Washington National. I mean, this guy has been a Nat killer for a couple of years. Remember last year he hit 2 home runs off Strasburg in DC, the 2 home runs the other night. And then today grabs a bat cold off the bench, RBI single in the first.
Well, I just think somebody needs to hit a line drive right over his head here.
Well, that's how you become a member of the opposing team, when you kill him like that. If you can't beat him, join him.
Jason Worth in this series 1 for 7 with 2 walks. And Francis with that herky-jerky motion misses outside. Talked earlier about the success of Worth against this pitcher. 7 career hits, a home run. That's 7 for 15. He's not only throwing strikes, but he's really hitting spots on the corners and the edges so far. Well, there's a hitter reaching just to try to make some contact.
I mean, not to make light of the subject, but if you take a swing like Jordan Pacheco took in the first inning off Jeff Francis, you might square a ball up right up the middle. You know, just let the ball travel. It's so easy to say. You know, facing Jamie Moyer all those years, a guy that would just lull you to sleep with slow stuff, bust you in with 85 and 2 strikes that looked like 95. And Jeff Francis a lot taller than Jamie Moyer, but their stuff plays about the same.
Adam LaRoche on a 9-game streak by him. And that's no swing, says John Hirschbeck down at first base. Counts back even now, 2-2. Little too high, and the count's full.
But you can even tell how Jason Worth took that 2-strike pitch right there, even though it was a ball and it was up. You could tell he was late on it, and that's the effect that all that slow stuff early will have on it.
That ball is turned on, and a one-hopper. That's their outstanding young third baseman, Nolan Arenado. And that's the first out here in the top of the second inning. Your mission, our commitment. Visit agilitycorp.com as we look at the league leaders. Consecutive games reaching base safely. Michael Kadire getting close to a month's worth here.
Oh, I thought it was consecutive GMs reaching base safely.
Yeah, Mike Rizzo would probably have the best on base percentage there.
Billy Beane up there with his first place ace.
They have already x-rayed Carlos Gonzalez. Left foot contusion. X-rays negative. Day to day, good news for the Rockies.
Probably wishing they had the re-entry rule right now.
Contusion, though, that doesn't mean that thing's not all swollen right now.
Right.
And sore. I'm sure he's got an ice pack going. And we wish Carlos Gonzalez the best, who may be listening down in the clubhouse today. The Rockies, some of their day games during the week, they don't televise, so some of their fans probably checking out our Masson show here today. We wish Carlos the best. See you next week in D.C. Adam LaRoche in this series, 2 for 7 with a walk. And hitting .339 over his last 36 games.
You'd have never said that if the feed wasn't on in their clubhouse. You'd have never wished him well.
Carlos, we wish you well.
Of course you would have.
And I'm glad we're having a little chuckle about it, because nothing seriously injured there.
Right.
It's a good young player. He is really good. Here's the 2-2. And Adam LaRoche, no problem taking that really slow breaking ball way off the plate.
I mean, in your 30 years of broadcasting major league games, have you ever seen a guy get worked like that in the on-deck circle? I don't ever remember. I've seen near misses. I've seen guys laugh about it. I've seen guys wave towels in the dugout, like, get the bat head out, let's go. But I've never seen a guy with a direct hit like that to leave a baseball game.
Yeah, no, you're right. A lot of near misses, swing and a miss. That's 3 strikeouts for Jeff Francis. Here's Ian Desmond, who put on quite a show last night. 2 hits, 3 RBIs, plus a walk, and great defense.
Yeah, flash and leather. Watch that ball almost get through the webbing of the glove for Ian Desmond. Great Exmo shot right there. And then the base hit to right field, the big knock, scoring Ryan Zimmerman. And how about this one right here? It's a line drive up the middle to play a couple more runs and to give the Nats a little breathing room here at Coors Field.
And here's another point about Ian as he fouls one out of play to the right side. FP, when I see him getting base hits the other way and up the middle, it means he's on to something, because, you know, he can be dead pull a lot, but when he gets base hits like that going the other way and driving in runs, he becomes even more dangerous, because now where do you pitch him?
Well, I like in RBI situations, and he's been doing it a lot lately, where he gets into a count, that whole patiently aggressive thing, to where he actually sits on a pitch. And we touched on it in the postgame show last night. When you have a guy at your position that's one of the best, and you come in for a 3-game set, it becomes a personal thing to where you want to show him that you can play too.
Target's in on 1-1. Desmond reaches out and corks that one into right center. Over to cut it off to Dyer. Desmond thinking to until the right fielder makes him go back. So well played by the hitter, the base runner, and the right fielder.
Locked in 15-game hitting streak for Ian Desmond, and there goes a no-hitter. I mean, how locked in is he? You see the location mistake that was supposed to be in, and that's the swing you're looking for off a guy like Jeff Francis. Let the ball get deep. There's no rush up there. He's not going to blow you away with 95. Let the ball travel. Go hard the other way. Great at-bat by Ian Desmond.
So during his hitting streak now, 20 for 54, batting .370. There's Anthony Rendon's on a nice streak himself. 7 games, 11 for 27. Takes the breaking ball, delayed call by James Hoy, who called it strike 1. 407 for the rookie, who's had all of 49 major league at bats in 14 games.
The 22-game hitting streak back to back. 15 at first, 7 in the box.
Middle infield producing here. And Rendon will casually take one to right field. Desmond easily to third base. Dyer returns it, and the shortstop second base combination doing a whole lot more than picking up ground balls and throwing people out these days.
Well, I keep saying he can hit, but I mean, he can rake. That's the approach, right? We just talked about it with Ian Desmond. Watch, foot down early, something on the outer half. Game moves slow for Anthony Rendon. What new? Another hit.
So during his hitting streak, now hitting .429. And as a big league hitter, he's at .320 with 16 hits in his first 50 major league ABs. Kurt Suzuki will be next.
Oh, he's good.
And a big spot for Kurt. Of course, the Rockies know there's a pitcher on deck. And Ross Detweiler has the lowest career batting average of any national starter. So you know they'll be careful here. And maybe the count, if it goes to 2-0, they might just put Kurt on. This will be interesting. He will pull the first one down to third. And the short way for the force out goes Arenado. The Nats pick up 2 hits and strand their first 2 runners. Rockies on top by 1. For global security professionals. And as a rookie a few years ago, Steven Strasburg, Julie, made his second career start in Cleveland, and we're expecting to see him this weekend. How's he doing?
Yes, I have great news to report for you guys, actually. Steven Strasburg threw his normal bullpen session earlier today, and he has been cleared by trainers to make that Sunday start on June 16th. He was placed back on June 1st on the 15-day DL with that lower right lat strain. He is clear and free to go. So great to see Ross Detweiler back on the mound today, followed by Gio Gonzalez tomorrow in Cleveland. On Saturday, we'll have Jordan Zimmerman, and then Strasburg on Sunday. So really great to see these guys getting back together, putting together the pieces of the healthy puzzle to get this team back whole. Great stuff, and happy to report finally some good news.
Well, Worth came back. Detweiler, Strasburg about to get Bryce Harper back healthy over the next week or so, and things will start looking up around here.
Well, I said last night, it's about that time for some offense late in the game. It's about that time that everybody's healthy again, knock on wood, and this team starts to put together some kind of role.
Bottom of the second, Willeen Rosario, the Rocky catcher, will lead things off. 1 for 5 in the series with a walk. Actually came in on a double switch in the middle of the game last night to replace Yorvit Torrealba. Hitting .244, coming off a really nice rookie season last year. I know Steven is well stretched out because strength and conditioning coach John Philbin had him on the floor of the clubhouse this morning, going through some really tough stretching and drills, and Steven feeling good after that. He is ready. Fastball up 3-0.
Had him on the torture rack, stretching him out.
Well, if that's what you call the floor. 3 balls, 1 strike. 6, 7, 8 for the Rockies here in the bottom of the second.
Of all the things I don't miss as a player, it's stretching. Hated it.
That's a good one. Fastball at the knees. Nissan will track it.
Yeah, 3-1 fastball down in the zone. See everything else up and away. Detweiler trying to find that rhythm once he gets into that groove.
28 homers he hit last year, by the way. Rosario, a Colorado rookie record. That ball hit sharply. Ian Desmond right there. Well, how about the show Ross Ohlendorf put on here last night?
Well, you just saw from the beginning, he made you want to root for him just for the fact that he came in the dugout all smiles. We looked up and saw the old school delivery, so check and check, and then you looked up after about 5 innings and he had given up an infield single, a bunt to Herrera. And then the drama there at the end, the at-bat against Troy Tulowitzki, a 3-2 battle, threw a fastball right down the middle after trying everything else to get a big out. And the newest rock star in D.C., Ole Ohlendorfer, with a huge outing here last night.
That's Nolan Arenado for the Rockies, dropping one into right center for a base hit. 3 hits for the Rockies. Ohlendorf last night, 89 pitches, 54 strikes, a great line. He told me this morning, because I said to him, you don't appear to me to be one of those game face guys who nobody can talk to during your starts. He says, well, if things are going well, I'm pretty chatty. He said, if you see me in the dugout, nobody's around me, that means things aren't going too well. But he actually left the hotel this morning and took a stroll to the ballpark. He just said he kind of wanted to soak in being back in the big leagues, being in Denver, pitching well in a big-time hitter's park last night. And he was just going to take a leisurely walk to Coors Field this morning. There's DJ LeMahieu, who started Tuesday night, got in the ball game last night as a pinch hitter and flight out. So in this series, he's 2 for 5.
And Davey Johnson said he is going to keep Ross Ohlendorf around. Earned it last night.
There's some opportunity in the rotation at the moment. Pitch low and inside. If you missed it, Eric Davis was optioned back today to make room for Ross Detweiler, who had to be reactivated. So right now, the Nationals bullpen, the best balance that's had all year, 4 right-handers and 3 lefties. For quite a while, there was 6 right-handers and 1 left-hander, and that was Zach Duke, who's really more of a long man or a spot starter, as opposed to a situational lefty in key games, situations late against some of the tough left-handed hitters the Nats have to face. So a versatile bullpen, and they're performing well. The ERA is under 2 lately. And at 2-2, a bouncer to Desmond. Will have to hurry. Rendon turns it, and it's a 6-4-3. Nationals turn their 61st double play of the year.
It's nice.
I'll tell you what else is nice. The pitcher gets to lead off next inning. And in a moment, Detweiler himself leads off.
That double play one more time, and when you've just started playing second base, there's no such thing as routine. I want to show you Anthony Rendon in the footwork right here of clearing himself from the runner. And you do this based on the speed of the ball. So a chopper to Ian Desmond, Rendon with enough presence early in his second base career to know that you come across the bag on that because of the speed of the ball. It dictates that the runner's going to be on top of you. Cleared himself nice, and you know, little things right now for Anthony Rendon. We showed the feed last night, right on the money to Ian Desmond, check. And the 6-4-3 double play right there, clearing himself of the runner, check. And I think we all know about the bat.
Well,
I just, for a guy that played second base the majority of his career, I am in awe right now of Anthony Rendon and what he's just done, moving from third to second at the highest level.
Yeah.
He just makes the game look easy.
Different side of the infield, so many nuances to playing second base on double play balls and all that. That's at the knees. Ross Detweiler with the bat this year, 0 for 14. He's an 0-48 career hitter. In fact, Francis is 0 for 10. Maybe one of these guys will get their first base hit today. It's a breaking ball that somehow Detweiler got a piece of.
I'm starting to wonder who was the genius that put him at third base.
They must have had a really good second baseman at Rice University.
Yeah. Who decided that guy was a third baseman? Should be fired.
That might be the same guy who taught him how to hit.
All right.
That's a breaking ball that just misses. Good take by Detweiler in the count 2-2. So fun to see the young guys we've been hearing about for a couple of years make it to the big leagues. Get to put some faces with names and then get to know them and watch them develop. And both these organizations have done that. Rockies have developed a lot of young talent. The Nationals right in the middle of that.
Well, I just think you're touching on a subject right now that's becoming the storyline of this season. Young energy injected into this ball club, whether it be Ian Kroll, Abad, the guy you're looking at right there. You're starting to get some young life that's adding some energy to this ball club, and it's fun to watch.
And that's what Bryce Harper did at the end of April last year. You know, things were kind of bumping along, and then all of a sudden this jolt shows up from the minor leagues. There's Ross Detweiler's first hit of the year, but he better hustle, and he will make it to first base. And if you have any questions about the oblique and the side and the back and all that, he was motoring down the first base line, and John Hirschbeck says, I was ready to call you out.
He had to hustle right there because Michael Gadire was playing shallow. And you'll say this as a right fielder to your first baseman, heads up, if I get a one hopper, I'm throwing right here. And Detweiler thinks he's got a clean single. He sees Gadire come up with it, charging hard. He had to leg out a base hit to right field. It was almost like a little league play right there where they throw you out from right.
You know, if I was Chad Tracy, I'm not sure I'd be laughing about Detweiler's speed right here. He was motoring.
He was. And about 4 steps out of the box, he realizes, uh-oh, I better go.
Yeah, I was surprised Kadire didn't throw the ball. And if I remember correctly, Larry Walker in this ballpark threw out a couple of runners from right field over the years.
Well, you see it
plays like that.
You see it on the turf all the time.
Top of the order, here's Denard Span. Cheating in at third, Nolan Arenado, and Span aired out a swing there on a 1-0 count. So Ross Detwiler's in the hit column finally. Among the starters, Gio has 5 hits, Dan Herron 5, Strasburg 4, Jordan Zimmerman 3. Two and one. So the Nationals, 3 of their last 4 hitters at the bottom of the order, I might add, hitting safely. And Span saw something he thought he could pull through the hole right side.
Well, he thought he recognized Cutter off the get-go right here, and the ball didn't cut. It just stayed on the inside, so he saw it in, thought it was going to break down the middle, and it stayed off the plate in the inner half.
Two count. Fastball up and in, gets away from Rosario. Jeff Coburn is next, and then Ryan Zimmerman if the inning gets that far. And Span up the middle. Base running by Ross Detwiler, staying home on a ball caught by LeMahieu. Will be the first out here in the top of the 3rd inning. Single game tickets available. The Rockies will be at our ballpark. So come out to Nationals Park next Thursday. Start of a 4-game series with Colorado. Some of those single game tickets start at just $10. Nationals.com/tickets. Come and join us. The best of the West next week. Colorado followed by first place Arizona, who have a 2-game lead over the Rockies going into this day. Here's Coburnis, who was not happy when he was called out on what he thought was a low fastball first time up.
They get those guys unis. They've been here the whole series from D.C. They're good for about 3-4 runs in the series.
You know, come on the road, folks. Wear some Nats gear. There's a good chance F.P. Santangelo will make you famous.
We like to see people traveling in their red gear. Attitudes all over the place. Love it.
I thought Coburnis might be hacking. He doesn't want the count to get to 0-2, but it will on the foul ball. Kind of interesting, the vicious cycle that can happen facing a guy like this. You're trying not to be too aggressive, but you don't want to have him get you to 0-2 either. There's that big breaking ball, and Jeff just can't get any kind of contact. 4 strikeouts now for Jeff Francis.
That big looping curveball. So a 3-pitch see it from Francis. I mean, 67 miles an hour. Tough for anybody to stay back on that. But you're thinking about that 86, 87 on the inner half that's playing about, I don't know, 6-7 miles an hour faster to your eye. You leave early, throws a curveball, you're out in front.
So evidently, if you throw the curveball high 60s in Colorado, it will curve and drop. Some other guys with good breaking stuff and off-speed stuff struggled here over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, quality pitchers, Mike Hampton, Denny Nagel, Darryl Kyle, just didn't have the same movement and stuff they had in other places when they became Rockies.
Well, when it's in the 60s, it's more about gravity than spin.
That it is. That'll be 2-0 to Ryan Zimmerman, so he can keyhole something here. Take a shot with 2 outs. Nats down by a run. 2 for 8 in this series with 2 walks, 2 RBIs. And to left field off the bat of Zimmerman. Colvin going back, and Ryan Zimmerman puts the Nats on top 2-0. He got just enough of it in his favorite road ballpark to do it again here at Coors Field. That's his 7th of the year. 2-1 Washington.
Well, he loves playing at Coors Field. 7th home run of the year, and he didn't get this, folks. This is off the end of the bat. Look at the contact point. And last night he hit one to left center field that Dexter Fowler gave a heck of an effort on that he thought he got. And I guarantee you, if you run down there and ask Ryan Zimmerman right now in the Nats dugout, he did not get that ball. But he'll definitely take it, putting the Nats up 2-1.
It's a breaking ball in the dirt to Jason Worth.
When you're that strong, you can miss hit balls at Coors Field and still send them in the bleachers.
Hitters love it, pitchers hate it, and the Nats lead.
He's laughing about that right now.
Well, maybe that makes up for some of the ones you blast and the guy gets pinned up against the wall and pulls one back in. Jason Worth bounced out to third first time up. 1-1 pitch. Take a big hack and foul it back. Russ Deadwater presented with a lead here in the top of the third. It's the Nationals' 55th homer of the year.
Staying hydrated with some Pedialyte.
Worth called out, fastball tailing to the corner. 2 Ks in the inning for Francis, but 2 runs given up. Not to be forgotten, Detweiler's single that got Zimmerman to the plate.
Two to 1 Nationals on the 7th home run of the year for Ryan Zimmer. We're going to show you the contact point of this home run and why guys love to play at Coors Field. So got a fastball over the plate. Watch where this ball hits on the end of the bat. Like I said last night, he got all of one to left center field. Thought he had a home run today. I guarantee you, shocked that that ball went out. He'll take it. The Nats will take it 2-1.
Well, you didn't think that series home run streak was going to end here, did you? Look at that. Nats had 77 straight series hitting a home run, but hadn't hit one in this series. Well, now they have. So next up is Progressive Field in Cleveland, and then the Bandbox in South Philly. Here's Jeff Francis, 0 for 10 with the bat this year. 3rd inning underway. Ross Deadweiler, 31 pitches, 19 strikes so far.
I mean, you think that'll be the lead on Sports Center when they break the record for most consecutive series with a home run?
What is the record? I think it's like
422. I'm pretty sure.
I think the Yankees back in the 20s probably had a few series.
27 Yankees.
And Francis puts a charge into that one. Lines out to Denard Span out in center for the first out. Top of the hour here, 2 o'clock in the Mountain Time Zone. 4 o'clock for those of you who might have snuck out early on a Thursday. Thanks for being with us on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network. Masson, Bob, FP, and Julie with you. Rubber game of this 3-game series in Colorado. Sun has come out after it was very dreary all morning. Still a lot of haze in the surrounding area from the wildfires that are burning, and a good portion of them out of control, really. Needing some moisture up here in the worst way. The only thing about today is it is cooler than it has been the last couple of days when it's been in the mid-90s here. Fowler goes up and hacks at a 1-0 pitch, and the count's even. Dexter helped the Rockies get their run when he swung on the first pitch he saw from Detweiler. Hit it off the right center field wall. 1 out later, scored on the Tyler Colvin base hit. There's the mile high stripe, huh? And that was a hitter who came diving out over home plate. There's no signal at all from home plate umpire James Hoy, who just raised his hands and maybe called it a foul ball. Now he's pointing at first base, and I think he's looking for help from John Hirschbeck here. Fowler came out of the box to possibly bunt, and that pitch just got buried right in on him.
And if you're wondering if the hand's part of the bat, not true. Now, you could swing, the ball can hit you in the hand, it can go into fair territory, and it's still a strike.
And he's obviously trying to bunt the ball down.
Let's see what's going on right here. I mean, he almost ran right in the strike zone. The ball really didn't miss by much, did it?
Well, they've already lost Carlos Gonzalez today to a freak injury. And the right hand being looked at.
Well, he's trying to push this ball to second base. But it's a fastball in. He just ran right into it.
And that's the old rule. If you take a swing and you're hit by the pitch, it is a strike. We'll see what James Hoy rules it here, because he quickly consulted with his other 3 umpires, and that's a little refreshing to see a home plate umpire immediately look for help. He's explaining something to Kurt Suzuki, and I think he's on his way over to Davey Johnson. And the fact that he's going to Davey first might not be a good sign for the Nats. Because Davey is certainly going to claim that he was making an attempt at the ball on the bunt. Now the question for the Rockies is, can Fowler stay in the game?
Well, I guess it's if he attempted at the ball, because if you swing and the ball hits you, it's a strike and a dead ball. Doesn't matter where the baseball goes. But if he wasn't swinging or not attempting to bunt and the ball hits him in the hand, he gets first base. So if Davey thinks that he actually attempted to bunt right there, it's a dead ball and it's a strike.
Well, I don't think Davey's happy with what he's hearing here. Now the crew chief, John Hirschbeck, is over.
And that's what Hirschbeck is telling him right there. If he decides and the umpires decide that he pulled his hands back and there was no bunt attempt, he's awarded first base. If there is a bunt attempt right there, then he's still in the box hitting with 2 strikes.
And usually in a situation like this, the manager that the umpires approach is the one who's getting the bad news about that call. Dexter Fowler appears to be okay. He's going to put on his helmet and walk to first base, and he's been hit by a pitch here, evidently.
Well, let's see. Was there an attempt to bunt this baseball? Look at it from the side first. Does he go after the ball? And it looks like he's pulling the bat back. And if that's the case, they got it right. And they just hope that Dexter Fowler's hand is okay, especially with what happened with Carlos Gonzalez earlier in this game. Rockies can't afford to lose 2 guys like that.
So a runner at first, 1 out. It'll be Jordan Pacheco, who bounced out to Desmond first time coming in. Nats have already turned 1 double play today. This has taken Dexter Fowler a while for this pain to go away. Now As he continues to struggle, Walt Weiss comes back out to visit.
You just tell how he's feeling. You get hit in any bone by a ball, you start to feel queasy, nauseous.
And they do have Todd Helton available if they need to get him out of the game. He may need an X-ray.
Goodness.
They've already X-rayed Gonzalez. Those came back negative after he was hit in the on-deck circle by a line drive. In case you weren't with us in the bottom of the first, Tyler Colvin replaced him. And it's taking Dexter Fowler a long time to walk this one off.
Well, it's just the danger of squaring around for a bunt. You leave yourself so open to getting hit by a pitch. Something similar happened to me in '97 where I squared around, a cut fastball hit me in the back knee, broke my kneecap, because once you're squared around to the pitcher, you can't get out of the way. You're defenseless. And especially like Dexter Fowler right there running toward the baseball. I mean, what was he supposed to do?
Well, and this is a base running situation for him, so maybe he can stay in. If he doesn't feel well when the inning's over, they could always pull him, but at least for now, unless he goes hands hard into a bag or something, he should be okay running the bases. So here's Jordan Pacheco stepping in. Todd Helton ready if needed. And we mentioned the Rockies have a short bench already. They DFA'd Eric Young Jr. yesterday to make room for Chris Volstad in their bullpen. And he was scheduled to start if Jorge De La Rosa couldn't answer the call with his finger situation last night. He was able to start. But they only have a 4-man bench, and when you consider one of them's a catcher, that's really only 3 available position players. Counts 0-1 to Pacheco, who's 1 for 2 in this series. Fowler, by the way, 11 stolen bases in 13 attempts, and he has a good lead. Not going anywhere, and that ball is out of play. AT&T fact of the game. First time in Major League history 2 losses start for the same team consecutive days.
Well, that's the best AT&T fact we've had all year.
That ball hooking foul down the line. So evidently there's a name file somewhere as far as consecutive starts by guys with the same name.
Well, that's going to stand for a while too, because if you break it, then it's going to have to be, one was right-handed, one was left-handed back-to-back days. So that record is in stone for a while.
Yeah. One's in his 30s, one's in his 20s.
Take that to arbitration.
We indeed do have statistics and AT&T facts of the game for everything these days. And the 0-2 now. Fastball caught him looking, 2 outs. Detweiler surprises Jordan Pacheco. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Well, you see everything early in the sequence away, and then Ross Detweiler just surprised Pacheco right there with a fastball right down the middle. Had a little cut action to it, actually. Started on the outer half, ran back right down the middle.
Remember what we said in the first inning, FP, after Corbinus was rung up. That's okay with the Nats as long as Detweiler gets that low call, because you have to have that at Coors Field. So here's Tyler Colvin, who stepped off the bench, replacing Gonzalez, and went opposite field to give the Rockies a lead with a base hit. Come to town, you're all worried about Gonzalez and Tulo and Kadire and Todd Helton. And the guy that kills you is Tyler Colvin, not just this year, but in previous years as well.
Look at those numbers, 386 home runs.
Target away by Suzuki on the outside edge. Fowler has shown no interest in running here. Where some folks consider you in scoring position in Coors Field when you're on first base with 2 outs and you have good speed.
In scoring position when you're on the bus on the way to the field.
2 balls, no strikes. Colvin flips 1 foul. 1 final in from the National League this afternoon. Mets got a run in the bottom of the 9th, but fell short. They lose to St. Louis 2-1. Nobody else in the division playing on this Thursday.
Standard.
18 pitches first inning, 12 pitches second inning for Detweiler.
Standard, 91% fastball.
Yeah, some of his starts has been a lot higher than that. 2-1 pitch. Short lead by Fowler. And just to check him, Ross will throw over. Rockies a good running team. 52 steals this year in 62 attempts. Only the Padres with 60 stolen bases have more. Of course, Gonzalez and Fowler, the two guys in the middle of all that, they've combined for nearly 30 steals. Detweiler goes up and in with a fastball and evens the count 2-2. Ninth start of the year by the Nationals lefty. He's 2-4 with a 2.76. And a 2-2 pitch. There's danger on deck. You'd love to see the inning end right here. Their cleanup man waiting, even though Troy Tulowitzki's had a bit of a quiet series now. 2 for 9 and coming off an 0 for 4 last night. So he's 0 for his last 6 in this series. You'd much rather face him next inning in that leadoff spot. Close. 3-2.
Well, that's going to give Dexter Fowler a head start right now at first base.
And these gaps are so big. Down the line, 347 and 350 left and right. Obviously a great hitter's ballpark. We probably never talk about this. It's a great base runner's ballpark. You can do some things here that you don't do other places. I mean, you're guaranteed pretty much to score from second with 2 outs in any base hit. And anything not hit right at an outfielder in a situation like this can always be an RBI.
Well, you play behind the runner right here in a 3-2 count because there's a left-hander up. But a right-hander, you might think about holding speed on.
Little tapper. Here comes Rendon. Tough play. And he gets it done. And Adam LaRoche caught a bullet that was headed right at the bill of his ball cap. Rendon continues to impress at second base. Get it near LaRoche. He'll take care of the rest. Care of business, though. Here's our Cox game summary. Visit Cox.com. Learn how Cox Advanced TV Plus provides personal recommendations based on what shows you'd like to watch. Carlos Gonzalez out with an ankle injury, but it appears to be okay. How about Ryan Zimmerman and his crazy numbers over the years here? 29 games, 8 homers, and 33 RBIs.
And putting his team up 2-1 right there. It's a third inning home run. So this graphic to me, I mean, the two top ones obviously is home ballpark. Turner Field, Citizens Bank.
Sure.
In his division, so plays there tons every year. Coors Field, 3-4 games a year, and that's right up there with the rest of them. Might have to convince him to get on the bus to go to Cleveland tonight. He might want to stay.
And it is 33 RBIs. Top of the fourth, Adam LaRoche struck out swinging first time. Francis overthrows one, misses away, 2-0. Coors Field isn't going to make a bad hitter a good hitter. It's going to make a good hitter a great hitter at times, and Zimmerman got that one right off the end of the bat, and you got to love that.
I disagree. I raked at Coors Field.
Hey, you made it to the big leagues. You weren't a bad hitter. You'd still be at Sac City.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you're 0 for 20 or 20 for 20. You step in that batter's box here with that batting eye back there, all the trees, the dark green, you feel locked in.
You said something similar about Oriole Park at Camden Yards a couple of weeks ago. You said you step in the batter's box, you feel like you're facing downhill.
Well, that backdrop, this backdrop, probably Arizona. I think the three best in baseball.
Big sweeping curveball. Adam LaRoche can't get to it. Jeff Francis, 6 strikeouts now of the 10 outs he's registered. Send your favorite Nats to the 84th All-Star Game, Citi Field in New York, July 16th. Vote early, vote often, vote Nationals. And go online at nationals.com/VOTE. Ian Desmond making a bid for the All-Star team that he made last year. His batting average on the climb here at .285 with his base hit today. And during his 15-game hitting streak, hitting at .370.
Well, if you go down the bottom of the ballot, there's a home run derby fan poll.
What guys you'd like to see in the home run derby?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And if Bryce is healthy, I would love to see him be in there.
How many do you get to pick?
I would just like to see
just
him
one
against,
from each league?
Him against Giancarlo Stanton. That's it. 2 guys. Everybody else stand around and watch. Maybe Joey Bats in there.
Citi Field a little more conducive to home runs than it used to be when they brought in the fences.
Just go Batista Cabrera versus Stanton and Harper.
They need the old guard against the young guard.
And not make it a marathon to where it's the last man that can hold a bat after the 4-hour home run derby. Just have it be quick and fun.
Yeah. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Desmond hits it sharply, and he's 2 for 2. Ian Desmond in this series is now 5 for 8, and he's also walked twice and played stellar defense.
Absolutely, positively locked in. The only thing he wishes right now is that he could have elevated that ground ball, but 2 for 2 for Desmond here today. We already talked about the hitting streak going to 15 games.
382 during the streak now, by the way.
And it's starting to become a gaudy streak.
Here's Anthony Rendon, who's sitting over 420 during his 8-game streak. And he flared one down the right field line. First time up. In that at bat, he looked to me like he's faced Jeff Francis 15 or 20 times during his career. It's the first time ever, of course. He just stood there almost motionless and just stroked the ball down the right field side like he would in BP. It was a very impressive, as you call it, piece of hitting. Desmond looking runnerish at first base, so Francis checks him again. Nats haven't done much running lately or this year, really, as a whole. Desmond 5 out of 7 in steals. The Nats have only stolen 25 bases all season. Rendon takes one on the outside corner. Inside the numbers with Jeep. Batting averages by rookies. It's the 13th of June, so almost halfway through the month. Anthony Rendon's right there.
Ted Jerko was impressive in San Diego.
Yes, he was. Young man from Morgantown, West Virginia. There's a frisbee that stays outside. 1-1. So Rendon 12 for 28 during his hitting streak right now. 429. Nats about hit the Rockies today 5-3. He went down and golfed that thing high in the air to Michael Kadire. 2 outs. Now we'll see if Kurt Suzuki can keep the inning alive and turn the lineup over with the pitcher on deck. With 2 men aboard, 2 outs back in the second. Kurt swung at the first pitch, grounded out to Nolan Arenado. One for 4 career against Jeff Francis. And he'll take one. 86 over below.
Well, every once in a while against a soft tosser, you can bet fastball on a 1-0 count. Get a changeup, hope you swing through it, extend the at-bat. But this is where, generally speaking, Francis likes to go soft with the changeup.
Career record of 69 and 77. Career high 17 wins for the Rockies in 07 when they went to the playoffs. He went 17-9 and pitched 215 innings. And Suzuki sharply to Tulowitzki. Nats are gone in the top of the 4th inning. They've stranded 3, leading 2-1, 4-5-6 ahead for Colorado. Brought to you by Miller Lite. On to the bottom of the 4th inning. Troy Tulowitzki, Michael Kadire, Willeen Rosario. Some big guns coming up for the Rockies. Some Curly W's in the house. I did some research this morning on Justin Masterson, and the Nats have their hands full tomorrow night.
You did research?
In Cleveland. Yeah, it happens every once in a while. He's 8-5 with a 3.68 ERA, and he's thrown 2 shutouts this year. That's a good matchup with Gio tomorrow night. Nats at Cleveland. The Fox game Saturday night, Jordan Zimmerman and Scott Kazmir. Steven Strasburg against Corey Kluber in a 105 game Sunday. Then it's on to Philadelphia.
See you starting Monday in Philadelphia. Fresh off the DL, some guy named John Lannon.
Ah, nice. Nats facing their former, 3-time opening day starter for the first time. Oh, happy that John's back healthy. So funny that he ended up with the Phillies, totally debunking your theory. He had some of his worst moments against Philadelphia. But we wish John well, except for Monday. It'll be good to see him. Bottom of the 4th, Troy Tulowitzki struck out swinging first time. Ross Detweiler pulled out a 93-mile-an-hour fastball to strike him out. He's only given up 1 bloop hit and hit a batter since. Detweiler has such a smooth, relaxed delivery. That heater will explode on him.
First thing Barry Bonds said to me as a San Francisco Giant was, "You're an idiot for signing with us. Your average just dropped 20 points.
Oh, coming to that ballpark?
Because we couldn't get you out."
Oh, okay. Yeah, but you were meant to play in the Bay Area there for a while, weren't you? Giants and the A's.
I just said, "Hey, thanks. Nice meeting you."
Well, we've heard he was a pretty warm teammate.
He was to me.
That's good. Now, I've heard it from a lot of guys that Barry Bonds was a great teammate. 2 balls, 1 strike. Tulowitzki, first hit since Tuesday. So with that base hit, he's 3 for 10 in this series, but they've all been singles. Tying run aboard to lead off the bottom of the 4th.
You see that double tap with the front foot from Tulowitzki. Just gets on his backside. I'll tell you what, that's one of the best players in the National League, bar none. You talk about total package leadership.
Well, and he's
offense,
healthy again.
Defense, what he brings to a ball club.
Rockies were without him from May 31st to the end of the season last year. Left groin surgery late June. So Tulowitzki, at the age of 28, back healthy for the Rockies. You know, he's only signed here for another 7 years. That ball hit pretty well to right. Jason Worth going back, and he can't get it. Hits the base of the wall, bounces by him. Tulowitzki to third. He'll be waved in by Stu Cole. Worth couldn't get a handle on the ball. And the hitter, Kadire, ends up at third base after tying the game.
Well, they'll probably score that a double and an error on Jason Worth. And Stu Cole was going to hold Troy Tulowitzki at third base, but after Worth got too close to this baseball, and that's the danger of going for the ball. Worth's got a beat on it. He thinks he can catch it. Then he feels the warning track under his feet, holds up, and now you're too close to the baseball. He can't play it off the wall in the hop. And then he went to reach for the baseball. After that, he missed it. And that allowed Stu Cole to send Troy Tulowitzki and tie this game at 2. It was the reach down for the baseball, and he missed it. It allowed the run to score. It allowed Kadire to advance to third.
And no error on the board yet, but all that matters is the score is 2-2. That's low and away. Willeen Rosario grounded out to short his first time. And the Rockies are a ground ball or a sac fly away from taking the lead.
So he gets to the ball right here. It caroms back, and then he hustles to get to it. And maybe just a little, well, I thought he peeked, but no, he just tried to grab it and missed.
And now they have posted the error. That'll be Jason Worth's first error of the year. And for the Nats, their 49th error of the season. Only the Houston Astros have more with 51. Good fastball by Ross Detwiler.
Well, Worth's played as good a right field as anybody in baseball, and it just gives you an idea what Coors Field will do to an outfielder.
I mean, you just can't believe some of the balls you get over guys' heads here. It's just amazing to carry. There's an RBI ground ball. Good job by Willeen Rosario, his 32nd batted in this year. And Colorado answers with 2 runs here in the 4th to retake the lead.
Yeah, far too early in this ballpark to pull your infield in, especially in a no-out situation. Davey Johnson playing things the right way there, as he always does, but the Rockies have done a nice job offensively today of manufacturing runs and doing the little things. Dexter Fowler with a leadoff double was moved to third by Jordan Pacheco, and then picked up by Tyler Colvin, and right there, just putting the ball in play for an RBI. Willeen Rosario, good at bat.
Nolan Arenado went up pumping. Looped a hit to right center first time. He was erased on the 6-4-3 double play off the bat of DJ LeMahieu. Another inside out swing. It's on a play 0-2. Detweiler went off speed down and into the right-handed batter. At him reaching, Adam LaRoche picks it off right to the bag, 2 down. DJ LeMahieu will be the hitter. Hit into that 6-4-3 double play, first time up. And he'll hit that one well down the right field line. Worth will try to keep him at first with 2 outs. He'll challenge. And with Jason Worth moving away from the infield, not a whole lot the right fielder could do. 3 hits in the inning. That makes the second run earned that Kadire scored. And Jeff Francis now will be the hitter with 2 outs.
The Rockies right-handers getting some good swings on the Detweiler fastball away. When Ross Detweiler's locked in, that 2-seamer kind of goes down away from a right. You see a lot of ground balls to the right side, but today the Rockies able to get some balls elevated and drive them the other way.
Yeah, they're not an all or nothing power team. They hit for high average here. 272 coming in. Only St. Louis at 275 higher. They've retaken the league lead in runs, or at least tied for it with their 3 here today. Runner going to third, and Ross Detweiler doesn't pay him any attention at all. And LeMahieu steals third base. By the way, there's Jonathan Herrera on deck, so Dexter Fowler is finished for the day.
Francis up, there's no need to throw to third base, although he's a good hitting pitcher. You want to get him.
Just have your shortstop make a play and you're out of the inning. But the Rockies take the lead. 3 hits, 2 of them doubles. Colorado now into the 5th inning, leading 3-2. In 3 years, Gio Gonzalez last 7 starts at 2.36 ERA, but 5 no decisions. Looking for some support. He's 5-0 career, by the way, against the Tribe. Justin Masterson goes for the Indians. He's 8-5 with a 3.68 ERA. Nats Extra presented by Jeep. Coverage at 6:30. Johnny and Ray from the studio will join you from downtown Cleveland, Ohio. On to the 5th inning here. Rockies a couple of changes we'll tell you about in a moment. They lead 3-2. For the achiever in you, PNC Bank. Hagerstown single A ball right fielder Brandon Miller. Georgia Tech then went on to Samford. Doing a good job this year with the power. 12 homers and the .813 on base percentage plus slugging for Brandon Miller. Center field now is Tyler Colvin, who moves over from left. And Jonathan Herrera in the leadoff spot replaces Dexter Fowler, who's been taken out of the game after being hit on the hand. Costly day for the Rockies. Detweiler leads off 5th inning. He led off the 3rd with a base hit. 2 outs later, Ryan Zimmerman hit a 2-run home run. It's a breaking ball on the corner, 0-2. So really, the Rockies have one position player left, Todd Helton. Said Michael Kadires playing a little more shallow this time in right field.
As a right fielder, you cherish that moment when you get a one-hop seed and throw somebody out at first base. You do that against opposing pitchers.
Francis has had a tough time striking out Ross. I mean, remember that at bat, he had him on 2 strikes for a while. Detweiler, a couple of tough takes, fouled off a couple of pitches, then lined one hard to right. First hit of the year. And not this time. Ross was trying to hit that ball to the rock pile. Strikeout number 7 for Francis. Bring your group out to Nationals Park starting next Thursday when the Rockies are in. Group tickets great for all types of events, company outings, birthday parties, family reunions, or if you just want to have a great time. Bigger the group, bigger the savings. Check it out. Nationals.com/groups. Denard Span having a tough series. He's 1 for 10. Off to a great start on Tuesday night. Second time up, 2-run double. He's walked a couple of times in this series. Francis working too quickly for his liking, asking for time, and James Hoy gave it to him.
Well, Denard Span looked up, and Jeff Francis was already his delivery. He's a guy that's about getting into the batter's box slowly, has a routine. You see him looking down right now, digging in. And right when he looked up, he was already in his motion. Francis was ready to go.
Two-one count. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Arenado on the move from third base, and now the count's even. No bunt now.
I'm a big fan of the base hit bunt early in the count, but as a hitter, if you work yourself ahead and get some count leverage and then square around the bunt in a 2-1 count, especially in this ballpark.
Span, a little one-hopper right back to the pitcher. 2 quick outs for Francis here, top of the 5th inning. Since Zimmerman's home run, he's retired 6 of the last 7. He'll face Jeff Coburnis. We had mentioned that in his first 10 big league at-bats, Coburnis had not looked overmatched. I wouldn't say he's been overmatched, but he's been befuddled by Jeff Francis twice today. Struck him out on the big roundhouse curveball last time.
You can't be overmatched on a guy that throws 85. It's impossible.
So overmatched kind of means overpowered, right?
Right.
I mean, everything he's thrown to Jeff has been a strike. Curveball, changeup, fastball. Yeah, breaking ball just stayed up and away. Coburnis was called up from AAA, where he was hitting .333 at Syracuse. You get called up from AA. You haven't seen guys like this. At AAA, you'll see a couple here and there. Guys who've been in the big leagues who are trying to battle their way back. Another little tapper to the mound. Jeff Francis has it going on right now. So 7 of the last 8 for him. Rockies have the top of their order due up, bottom 5 in a 3-2 game. Zimmerman's homer, the 2 Nats runs today. Those came back in the 3rd. The Ryan Zimmerman Fan Challenge is here. Visit Facebook.com/Massa Nationals. Before June 16th, submit a video challenging Ryan to any competition of your choice. He'll pick his 3 favorites. The public decides who wins. Presented by Care First, who encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. So maybe along those themes, not skydiving like somebody sitting next to me suggested last night.
Last one to pull your chute wins.
Or maybe not.
We'll see how long you can hold your breath underwater.
Jonathan Herrera leads off. He's now the Rockies' left fielder. And Herrera, in this series, actually started at second base last night, had that bunt base hit. He only hit early against Ross Ohlendorf. Later, stole a base and had a base hit. Jonathan, 28 years of age, out of Venezuela, hit .262 here last year in part-time action. .252 the year before that as a Rocky reserve. Kind of left his strike zone reaching for that one, and the count's 2-2. Russ Detweiler came into this 5th inning. 66 pitches, 44 strikes, 3 runs on 6 hits. Tried to jam him and catch that inside corner with a fastball. 3-2.
You tell with Ross trying to shake off that rust, missing almost a month. The command isn't as great as he's had it before, but it's going to take him a few starts to get back into the flow.
Bouncer Zimmerman, nice pick on the short hop. That put him in perfect position on the run to make that patented sidearm throw of his. 1 out.
Well, just the in-between hop on the run. Playing pretty shallow right there. But he likes to play close to the base, close to the grass. And he loves to make the play on the run.
Looked like that ball was rattling around in his glove a little bit. Got him on the heel.
And we talked about both teams not hitting again today. Nobody else out here except for that guy. 10:30 this morning, working on his throwing, playing long toss, getting some extra work in when nobody else was.
Can't cut that one off, but here comes Desmond. And Adam LaRoche will pick it beautifully and seemingly easily. 2 outs. He is something to watch at first base.
Got a lot of LYs in that call for you right there. Holy smokes.
How many adverbs can you have in one sentence?
Good pick on the backside, wasn't it?
Well, to quote you, I get fired up when I see stuff like that.
It's almost boring watching Adam LaRoche with the glove work at first base. You take it for granted sometimes how he picks up infielders. Great reaction from Ross Detweiler right there.
They get ground balls. These guys will take care of the rest. Ross could use a quick inning. We'll see if he can get it now with Tyler Colvin stepping in.
And just blindfold yourself, chuck it over there like a grenade. He's going to pick it up.
We're thinking about that play last night. You can't give Adam LaRoche an error on a play like last night when a pitcher shovels one and throws it by him with the runner right there. And they did change it later. There's Craig Stammen throwing for the Nats. Detweiler's at 75 pitches, so even though he might get a 1-2-3 5th inning, he might be at about the ceiling of his pitch limit on this return start today. That's a good strike. Fastball, one of his better of the day. Outer edge at the knees. And a ball well hit to left center. Denard Span is there. Detweiler gets his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. We'll see if he shows up for the 6th. We know Ryan Zimmerman will next. strikes. 3 runs on 6 hits through 5. Didn't walk anybody. Couple of strikeouts. What you would have to call a successful return to the rotation. Maybe his teammates can earn him a potential W here. Ryan Zimmerman homered last time up, $250 more to the Children's National Medical Center. That happens every time an ad homers this year, thanks to our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
A nice outing today from Ross Detweiler. You give up 3 runs in this ballpark, you win a lot of baseball games, and now it's up to the Nats to get to Jeff Francis,
who has, we noted before he took the mound today, sporting a 6.30 ERA. Nissan will track this one.
Well, you saw the velocity from Detweiler today, probably not where he wants it to, but it's going to be a process to where he builds up that strength, builds up that stamina again, gets that fastball back to the mid-90s.
Ryan Zimmerman saw 86. His eyes lit up. Fouled it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But the best thing Ross Detweiler did today was pound the strike zone. Go right after guys, not walk anybody. Giving his team a chance.
Yeah, he had 1 hit batter, but that was Fowler diving out over home plate trying to bunt. You take a month off and don't walk anybody, it says something. 1-2, target in. High and tight. Jason Worth and Adam LaRoche to follow. The Nats guns 3-4-5 here. Top 6. Rubber game of the 3-game series. Rockies at home 21-15. Nats on the road 14-19. Big slow breaking ball that hit right off the top of his bat. Zimmerman thrown out by LeMahieu for the first out, and that's 8 of 9 now for Francis. Jeep takes us inside the numbers. Guys with losing records and great ERAs, and the Nats need to have the bats come alive to get Strasburg and Detweiler off that list.
We think that's going to change somewhere in the course of the season, but the Nats offense in a rut right now against guys with high ERAs, trying to figure out Jeff Francis here in the 6th.
Here's Worth, who's 0 for 2, and Jason 1 for 9 in the series. And he walked, doubled and walked in 4 plate appearances here Tuesday night. So the Rockies have shut him down the last 2 games. 2-0 and Francis. If you're a Colorado fan, you got to love his work rate right now. He's getting the ball and he's ready to get right back at it. Came into this inning with 82 pitches, so he's not going to go the distance today. 2-0 pitch, he gets the strike. 3 career complete games, 2 of them shutouts for Francis, who's been in the big league since the end of the 04 season. High tight with a fastball and a good take by Jason Worth, 3-1.
See, even though that Francis shows you that fastball in the inner half of the plate, if you're a right-handed hitter, you have to find a way to disregard it and still look for the ball out over or on the outer half. You fall right into the trap off a cutter guy if you start thinking about the inner half of the plate. And he's making the Nationals hitters very aware of that inner half and then going back away like he did right there.
Continues to hit corners. There's Wilton Lopez, one of their now 6 right-handed relievers. Mentioned the pitch count. It's getting up there. Worth will make him throw in at least another. 2 runs in the second, or rather 2 hits on Desmond and Rendon. No score. The Detweiler base hit led to the Zimmerman homer in the 3rd. Since then, Desmond's single in the 4th, the only Nationals hit. Off speed, and Jason Worth frozen on 76. And Jeff Francis has struck out 8 Nationals today.
Now just going with the changeup right here after a couple of fastballs, 1 in, 1 away. The pitch to Jason Worth was the one before. He got a fastball right down the middle, took it, and then had to figure out a changeup right there, and a 2-strike count for Francis.
LaRoche has been struck out twice swinging. So if he sees anything but a curveball, you know he'll be hacking early. Check swing on a changeup. Feeling so good about that changeup, he'll throw it to anybody on either side of the plate right now. There's that breaking ball. Had him way out ahead. Pacheco to Francis. Mastering the Nats right now. Retiring 10 of the last 11. Leading by a run, middle 6th.
The 6-3-2 Rockies. Let's check out Ross Detweiler's day. Some Geico highlights. Good to see him back on the mound, and he did a good job of pounding the strike zone, kept his team in the ball game, gave up a double in the first that scored, a couple of doubles in the fourth that led to a couple of runs, but checked in with a base hit. And all in all, I think a good day for Ross Detweiler. Just seeing him back on the mound alone, just seeing him walk off the mound after 5 decent innings and being healthy.
Well, as we mentioned last night when Ross Ollendorf started, there's Steve Lombardozzi, who will bat 9th and play left field on the double switch. Craig Stammen coming in just to get Detweiler back on the mound. Strasburg back on Sunday, already using as many starters as the Nats did all of last year. So get that rotation settled back in, guys feeding off of each other, and take it from there. So Stammen, in his career as a reliever, 2.88 ERA. Takes on Troy Tulowitzki here. Right in there.
Tulowitzki, you'll see a 2-seam fastball, low 90s, a slider, curve, occasional change.
Craig Stammen, first appearance of this series. Tulowitzki is 1 for 8 career against him with a walk and a strikeout. Colorado shortstop 1 for 2 with a base hit, 1 scored today.
We talked about it last night a little bit, the mental test for pitchers, especially visiting pitchers coming here to Coors Field. And it's not so much about the ball carrying, it's when you're out there getting loose in the bullpen, warming up. And is my breaking stuff breaking?
That ball well hit. Span staying right with it. I mean, that's a routine fly ball, and that thing carried about 385.
I mean, you'll talk to relievers all the time, Carp. They go down there, they throw in the bullpen. You know, they're spinning sliders in there, they're spinning curveballs in there, and they're doing nothing. And then you go out to the mound, and you're 60 feet 6 inches away from hitters like Troy Tulowitzki. And hey, you know, when you come into Coors Field, to me, it's not about your stuff. It's about competing. It's forget all my slider's not sliding, my curveball's not there, we're playing at altitude. If you simply compete and throw strikes, you have a chance pitching here.
Well, you come out of the bullpen with that attitude, you're almost beaten already, aren't you?
Well, I've played with guys that they were beat on the plane flying into Colorado, talking about how I hate pitching there. It's the worst place in the world. And yeah, everybody knows about it, but you have to fight that.
Up the middle, Desmond to his left from behind the bag. Time to take a crow hop or two. Ian Desmond playing great defense. Willeen Rosario will be next. 2 ground balls, 1 for an RBI. And the Rockies box score will show damage in the first. Fowler a double. Colvin replacing Carlos Gonzalez, who was hit with a foul ball in the on-deck circle. RBI hit. And then the ground ball by Rosario after the big Michael Kadire double after the Tulowitzki single. 4th inning. So it has been anything but bombs away in this series in all 3 games. I mean, the Rockies did put 8 runs on the board Tuesday night, but most of that came late. 2-0 game for quite a while. Then a 5-2 game for a while before they tacked on 3 late. And last night's epic 5-1 Nats win, one of the most impressive pitching performances I've ever seen by any ball club I've ever come in here with, including Washington and a couple of others. I mean, how do you come in here and give up 1 run on 3 hits? You compete.
You compete.
There you go. Good breaking ball by Stammen. Looked like a check swing. He went, says John Hirschbeck. Strike 2.
And a little slider down away right here to Rosario.
That's nasty. Made even more effective by the fact that James Hoy has had the low strike zone today. If you're an umpire, you want to work a 3.5 hour 11 to 10 game, don't give the low strike at Coors Field in the first couple of innings. And Hoy established early that he would reward pitchers for being close down there at the knees. I mean, the strike zone shouldn't be this different any one ballpark to the other, but you need that call here. Swing and a miss, and what an inning for Craig Stammen. Ian Desmond hitting just under 400 during his inning streak. He'll lead off top 7.
Desmond due up. So a guy with a 15-game hitting streak going to lead it off for the Nationals right here. Anthony Rendon up this inning, so you think it's about that time, right?
Trying to get some offense going here, so we thought we'd let you lead off coming out of the inning. And in your anybody but him department, Jeff Francis is out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. So, I mean, trying to generate some offense right now, trying to get some runs on the board any way you can, getting late early. So a ballpark that's conducive to slugging, down by 1, and not a big deal, but it's about that time.
Yeah, and you know, the Nats want to generate some offense. They're playing in 3 pretty good hitters' parks on this trip: Colorado, Cleveland, ball can jump there, and then of course the bandbox in Philadelphia.
Well, we talked in the open today about maybe trying to build on something, and last night with Ross Ohlendorf out there, you just got that feeling that, you know, some momentum was headed their way. Just a feel-good night at the ballpark last night as Wilton Lopez takes the mound for the Rockies, and we're just trying to continue that here today. And we showed that last game against the Twins where they came from behind 3 runs for the first time, and they find themselves down 1 here in the 7th.
Wilton Lopez takes over for the Rockies here, top 7. Lopez, a scoreless inning and a third here to help them stay ahead on Tuesday night. He'll face Ian Desmond, who is red hot. So Desmond 2 for 2 today. Batting average nearing 290. And hitting just under 400 during this now 15-game hitting streak. He'll show bunt. And I mean, Nolan Arenado was playing so deep at third. And he came rushing in way late.
Well, of all of the Nats hitters today, obviously Ian Desmond saw Jeff Francis the best. Pretty good game plan. Letting the ball travel, letting it get deep. And we talked about it earlier, those left-handers that are BHS, below hitting speed. Jeff Francis took advantage of some aggressive Nats hitters today.
Didn't walk anybody, struck out 8. Gave the Nats 2 runs on 5 hits in 6 innings. Pitch count got him 97 pitches, 64 strikes. Anthony Rendon has a base hit today. Kurt Suzuki to follow. And a reminder that Lombardozzi is now hitting 9th after a double switch. Desmond taking healthy hacks.
Well, he's not a guy that's going to take anything out of his swing in a 2-strike approach. He just expands his strike zone a little bit. The only time you'll see Ian Desmond be a little bit more patient is when there's runners in scoring position. He likes to get into a count and sit on a pitch.
Desmond is 3 for 3. That's how it goes when you're swinging the bat well. Everything falling in. So Desmond hitting over 290 now.
I mean, I was looking for this ball in left field. I thought this was a pull swing. I'm looking to left field to see where the hit went. And it went to right. So when you're hot, you're hot. In the middle of a 15-game hitting streak, another 3 for Ian Desmond. And more importantly than all that, leadoff man aboard here for the Nats in the 7th, down by 1.
Desmond is hitting 400 during his hitting streak now. Here's Anthony Rendon. Did a great job of going the other way. First time up today. Rendon did face Lopez in the 8th inning of the game Tuesday night. Grounded out to third, getting his first look at this right-hander.
Here, Lopez, a fastball changeup guy. He'll mix in an occasional slider. He likes to go that fastball into the changeup away. You see 91 right there, bottom of the zone. Didn't get the call. He's looking for a ground ball.
One pitch, hands held up high, and he will pop it up right center. Kadire and Colvin out there. Center fielder takes charge for the first out here in the 7th. Miller Lite Party Nights Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Nationals Park. Get a scoreboard pavilion seat and a drink for just $21. At least that's where it starts. This is available online only at nationals.com/party. Some restrictions apply.
You see how the book on Anthony Rendon has changed throughout the course of this series. He showed the Rockies in the first 2 games that his power was the other way. And now they're trying to pound him in. And there's going to be a time when teams are going to try to test the young second baseman on the inner half. And it's going to be up to him to show them. And he can turn on a ball in the inner half, get him out of there.
Kurt Suzuki has pulled the ball on the ground twice, 0 for 2. Kurt in this series 0 for 6. Batting average down to 224. Because of the double switch, Davey Johnson could use Craig Stammen for another inning if he chooses in the bottom of the 7th. Craig only threw 11 pitches, 7 strikes in that 1-2-3 6th. Counts even 1-1. And Lopez with a little step off and a fake like he would throw. I mentioned Desmond, 5 out of 7 stealing this year. A lot of hitting room over on that right side, by the way.
If you're not stealing right here, for Ian Desmond, you could think about that slider in the dirt to Kurt Suzuki, the guy that likes to throw the slider a lot.
The target down and in, that would indicate fastball, and that's what it was. He missed 2-1. Steve Lombardozzi now the number 9 hitter after the double switch.
It's going to be an action count for the Nats. Got a guy that can handle the bat. Lopez pretty quick to the plate. In a 2-1 count, you could go hit and run right here if you choose. Good speed at first, strike thrower. Guy can handle the bat.
Target in again. Suzuki turns on it. High fly foul. Well out of play. Beautiful day now. Sun shining brightly here in downtown Denver. Breeze blowing in gently straight from center field right now. Runner going, swing and a miss. Errant throw. Desmond can pop up, and he won't go to third. I wonder if he slid by the bag without touching it. Looked like Ian was going to pop up and go. Colvin was on the charge, and for Ian Desmond, that'll be his 6th stolen base of the year.
Well, probably a bigger play if there's a 1-out scenario, but the fact that Kurt Suzuki struck out right here in a 2-out scenario, the biggest part of this is Ian Desmond just getting into scoring position. You look at him slide right in the base. He catches the bag, but decides that with 2 outs, not a good gamble to go to third base against the arm of Tyler Colvin. Willing Rosario right there launched that.
Lombardozzi, 13 RBIs on the year. From the left side, hitting .223. Sort of the ultimate contact man here.
He's been clutching this situation all year long. Guy that's not afraid to hit with runners in scoring position, especially with 2 outs. Puts the ball in play. If you're the Nats, this is the right man in the right spot scenario.
0 for 2 career against Wilton Lopez. 5 of his 13 RBI situations just like this. It's interesting. Tulowitzki went over to the bag and just ran right by the bag. These things kind of got frozen in time there.
Well, he's trying to give his outfielders a chance to throw out Ian Desmond at home. That's not about stealing third. That's about keeping Desmond close and not getting a good jump in a 2-out situation should Lombardozzi single, and he just walked.
Now there's a balk, and he will end up at third. How about that? Hey, anything to help the hitter erase a breaking ball in the dirt from the opposing pitcher helps.
Let's see what he did. Hey,
right there.
He started to go into his glove, stopped, and Davey Johnson will take 1 more of those.
Now that would be a rally.
And that guy didn't even call it, Bob Davison.
Yeah, how about that?
That's the biggest news on that ball call. That was James Hoy all the way.
Remember back in the first inning when I did the umpire rotation, I said Davidson at second, pitchers beware.
Yeah.
Walking Bob hasn't rung up anybody today, but that'll get the tying run 90 feet away here.
But, you know, the rest of his crew just kind of gets that by osmosis from hanging around Bob all season long.
Drew Storen could be pitching the bottom of the 7th. Stammen's hitting spot 2 spots away still. Lombardozzi rolls 1 foul. And the count 1 ball 1 strike. Target away. That time Rosario had to go backhand. Second time in this at bat.
Well, you remember we noted how they extended the seats out here at Coors Field, and the backstop actually closer. Rosario right here with a nice backhand play. So if you're Ian Desmond on a wild pitch, you're going to have to hustle. This whole section right here is new at Coors Field this year.
And some of that's. We've had another balk. Are you kidding me? Was that Bob Davidson? I saw him with his left hand up out at second base. And the Nationals have been given 180 feet of bags here, and the game is tied.
And that was Bob Davidson. Good call. He couldn't stand the fact that somebody else was calling him, and let's see what he does.
Right there, he did it again.
He did it again. He started to go into his glove and stopped. And after you've done it once, obviously you've drawn attention to yourself. Walt Weiss wants an explanation. You can't argue a balk call, but you can get an explanation as a manager.
Well, I'll tell you what, when Walt Weiss sees the tape, he'll know his guy balked twice. Lopez hesitating twice to go into his glove here in the same inning against the same hitter.
Unbelievable.
How often do you see a guy balk twice in the same at bat? Nationals given an opportunity to tie the game, and hey, we got to defend Bob Davidson. That was legit.
I've seen Armando Benitez do it to lose a game with the winning run on third base on the road. I think it was in New York about 4 or 5 years ago. You see Rosario trying to pick up his teammate, Tulowitzki trying to calm Lopez down, but when you talk about catching a break, Davey Johnson, we were joking, said he'd take another balk, and he did. Tie game.
But when you move your bare hand toward the glove and then pull it back, that's the same as moving toward home plate and stopping. And he did it twice, identically. He'll work off the windup here. Lombardozzi will pull it. Right there is Jordan Pacheco. The Nats get a base hit, a steal, a balk, and tie the game at a very unhappy Coors Field. Seventh inning stretch brought to you by Hyundai here at Coors Field in Colorado. We think Walt Weiss, or at least somebody from the Rockies dugout, has been tossed. Walt Weiss went out to talk to crew chief John Hirschbeck at first base, and then Bob Davidson approached, and Hirschbeck walked Weiss away from Bob Davidson.
Somebody got thrown out of the Rockies dugout. It wasn't Walt Weiss.
Might have been.
Jim Reynolds came down from third base, was talking to James Hoy, the home plate umpire. And somebody chirping in the Rockies dugout got ejected during the break.
Might have been Tom Reynolds, the bench coach. We'll just have to check and see.
Well, it looks like Tom Reynolds going over it. Dante Bichette arguing. That's Yorvit Torrealba arguing.
Well, you know, and if he got thrown out, they're down to Todd Helton on their bench.
Well, you know what the attitude is on a balk. Guys are thinking, and the call was made correctly, but guys in the first base dugout are thinking, really, nobody else saw that. And, you know, almost like the parking meter just hitting 0 and you getting a ticket. That's kind of what they're thinking. The first one was legit, far more blatant than the second one, but the second one was called correctly as well. And you could almost read Walt Weiss's lips talking to John Hirschbeck at first base saying, well, even if he did do it, did anybody really see that? You didn't hear the other manager arguing. Nobody in the third base dugout screaming balk. So there's different perspectives from different dugouts right now here at Coors Field.
Let's look at him, folks. And you can, he does almost the same thing.
Watch the right hand start to go in there.
That's the first one.
And that's James Hoy behind the plate calling it. And that got Ian Desmond to third. We jokingly said, well, the Nats will take another one. You couldn't really see it on the second one.
He did it before we rolled that piece of tape. He moved the hand forward again. And I saw Bob Davidson's hand, his left hand up in the air, out there beyond second base on the second one. Craig Stammen, by the way, stays in to face Nolan Arenado, bottom of the 7th. 1 ball and 2 strikes here. And a tapper by the mound. Here comes Ian Desmond, very busy today. On the run, creates a nice, easy throw for himself. And Craig Stammen's retired 4 in a row.
Let's try to see the second one again. Watch his right hand.
Right there.
Well, I mean,
was close.
Honestly, the Nats will take it, but that's borderline. That's putting the magnifying glass on it, the Hubble telescope on it, and looking for it. First one obvious. Second one got the call right, but I guess that's one of those things, Carp, where you draw attention to yourself. Now guys are looking for it. I understand both sides. Been on both sides.
Those were the first 2 walks called on Wilton Lopez. Balks called this year.
And look who's on deck for the Rockies. Yolis Chacin,
who started the game here Tuesday night. And a bouncer to Ryan Zimmerman on the run. Just flip it over to Adam LaRoche.
Well, we talked in the open how you're starting to get that feel that things are turning around. Yeah. When you get double balks to score a run.
Now that's momentum.
Oh, I mean, we were going to cover the double balk in the open today, but we decided to go with something else.
Let's see. They haven't crossed Torrealba's name off the lineup card yet. So evidently a coach was tossed, not a player. And you see Todd Helton and Yorvit Torrealba, the only 2 remaining bench guys. Rockies, of course, are playing a man short, as I've mentioned, because they have 8 in their bullpen. They're home for a while, so they felt that like they needed 8 relievers.
I mean, is it wrong if the only thing I got from us showing that scorecard is one of the Rockies coaches has tremendous font? Look at that.
It is beautiful.
That's one of the more neatly written scorecards you'll ever see. Randy Knorr does the Nats one, and it's not bad, but that right there.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen some coaches, I mean, it borders on calligraphy.
I mean, that is.
2 balls, 1 strike.
It's artwork.
Yolis Chacin takes a pretty good hack. The count's 2-2. Struck out, by the way, in his only appearance at the plate. On Tuesday night, he left behind, but his guys got him 5 runs the next half inning. Got him a W. Stammen just misses, trying for a second consecutive 1-2-3 inning. His hitting spot is due up second in the 8th.
These are always dangerous at bats. You get a pitcher off the bench. He's got nothing to lose. He's going to go up there and play home run derby. That's all he's thinking about.
And he draws a walk. Pitchers walking pitchers. MLB.com at bat. The #1 source for live baseball everywhere. iPhone, iPad, Androids, BlackBerry 10. Nationals baseball delivered with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text it back to 31826 or go to nationals.com. Top of the order, good tailing fastball to Jonathan Herrera, who replaced the injured Dexter Fowler 2 innings ago and grounded out to Ryan Zimmerman. So they've lost Gonzalez and Fowler today to injury, and had a pitcher balk twice to tie the game. Strange day indeed for the Rockies. Herrera, by the way, 2 for 3 career against Craig Stammen. Okay, Wilton Lopez was ejected at the end of the inning.
Ejected and dejected.
And the pitching coach, Jim Wright. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Base hit. Walk the pitcher. You're asking for trouble in this ballpark, or anywhere really. And now Jordan Pacheco will have a chance to put the Rockies back on top.
Well, the one thing Craig Stammen has done better than anything stats-wise the last 2 years is the mental side of it, not worrying about how runners have gotten on behind him. It's elevated him to a different level out of the bullpen for the Nationals, and right now trying not to think about that 2-out walk and that 2-out knock. Got a big out to get right here for his ball club.
Jordan Pacheco is 1 for 1 career against Craig Stammen. Steve McCatty will visit.
Well, this is trying to accomplish a couple things right here for Steve McCatty. Sell down Craig Stammen, got a big out to get. And you look at the lefty Cedeno getting loose, and they're trying to buy some time. Should Pacheco reach for that matchup against Tyler Colvin on deck?
James Hoy out to break it up.
You know, thinking back to all the years you've been coming to Coors Field, it seems like the day games here are always the strangest. I don't know what reason, maybe because it's warmer and the ball flies, or something about coming in here as a visitor with the elevation, but for whatever reason, day games at Coors Field seem to always tend to get weird. This one started out weird with the foul ball off Carlos Gonzalez's ankle.
Jordan Pacheco 0 for 3 today, goes up hacking, and Stammen slips 86 by him on the heartbreaking ball. Tie game. Rockies have out hit the Nationals 7-6. Had him reaching, foul ball.
Well, if a guy commits to a Craig Stammen slider, he usually tries to bounce it after he's established it in the zone. So 2 sliders right here to start out the at-bat. A couple of options. You could go fastball up and in to get back to the slider, get him off diving out over the plate, or you go right to it and bounce it. Tried to, fish ain't biting. They tried to bounce this pitch. Kurt Suzuki reaching out there. Pacheco recognizing it early.
Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. That's fair. Zimmerman, backhand pick, nicely done. To the bag for the force out. Nats are out of the inning, into the 8th. Rubber game, tied 3-3 in Denver.
Yeah, so Rockies dropping like bloop singles here at Coors Field. Carlos Gonzalez left the game with a foul ball off his left ankle. Dexter Fowler ran into a pitch. Ryan Zimmerman 2-run homer, and Ian Desmond is keeping on for the Nats. 15-game hitting streak, 3 hits today. Going the other way, nice. The one guy that figured out Jeff Francis in the Nats lineup. So the hits keep raining for Ian Desmond. Watch this one, little inside out piece. I was looking for the ball and left. He hit it to right. So on base all 3 times. Average heading north in a hurry for Ian Desmond.
Called to the bullpen package by the UPS store. We love logistics. First appearance of this series for veteran right-hander Matt Belisle. 3.15 ERA, 31 games. League only hitting .221 against him. They're without their closer right now, Rafael Betancourt.
I made a move yesterday to go to 13 pitchers. So 14 of their next 17 games counting today at Coors Field. The 3 games on the road at Cincinnati. So the Rockies deciding to load up on pitching.
You'd better.
Send Eric Young Jr. down and add an extra guy to the staff. Makes sense.
Denard Span 0 for 3 today, 1 for 11 this series. 0 for 1 career against Matt Belisle. A right side ground ball, easy bouncer for LeMahieu. First out here in the top of the 8th. And Roger Bernardino will be batting for Craig Stammen. This copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Roger Bernardino 2 for 11 as a pinch hitter. This is one department of the ball club that is going to have to be a whole lot better over the last 98 games of the season or so. Getting some pinch hits, getting some RBIs. 1 pinch hit RBI this year on the Chad Tracy home run in San Diego. That'll help. And Bernardino's got to be thinking too here. He's going to round the bag. Colvin up with it. The throw is there. He's safe. Bernardino comes in hard right under that tag, and he's at second base with 1 out.
Boy, he was some kind of getting it around first base, and that's a gamble you got to take in the 8th inning of a tie ball game when you have the speed of Roger Bernardino. So the Shark checking in right here, hitting a gapper. Nice play by Tyler Colvin to make this close. Little spin move, got rid of it quick, throw right on the money. And hello, Troy Tulowitzki's knee meet Roger Bernardino's helmet. I mean, a hustle double for the Shark on a great swing off the bench by Roger Bernardino. You love the gamble right there. Even if he's out, you love the gamble.
Boy, Davey Johnson got the matchup he wanted there. Roger Bernardino's now 3 for 3 career against Matt Belisle.
He's holding his shoulder at second base.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman, who's 3 for 11 against this right-hander. First pitch, fastball, low. Ryan today 1 for 3, 2-run homer. 3 for 10 in the series with 4 batted in. Wind kicking up, blowing straight in from left center. Right field line. This one could be trouble for Colorado. Fair ball. Hits at the wall. Zimmerman to second. Might be thinking about 3. He'll pull up. The Nationals lead 4-3. Ryan Zimmerman, 2 extra base hits, 3 RBIs today.
Oh, he loves this ballpark. Are you kidding me? 10th double of the year. A clutch base hit from Ryan Zimmerman, scoring the hustling Roger Bernardino. And we always talk about it when he's going that way with authority. Look out. Little tailing line drive down the corner. You knew it was over Kadyr's head as soon as he hit it. Bernardino read it well. And some instant offense here in the 8th for the Nats, taking the 4-3 lead.
Now you've got Jason Worth coming up against Belisle. Career 3 for 4 with a home run. Roger Bernardino rubbing that right shoulder, came into second base hard.
That's the way you play the game. Carp, you always talk about sliding feet first versus head first, and we get in that argument all the time, a friendly argument. But that's a case where I think you're right, especially with Troy Tulowitzki blocking the bag like that. You come in cleats high. Now you're the one delivering the blow versus his knee delivering the blow, and Bernardina's shoulder went right to Tulowitzki's knee.
Worth, a little spinner up the middle to Tulowitzki. 2 outs. Sending Ryan Zimmerman over to third base. Adam LaRoche, happiest man in Denver that Jeff Francis is out of this game. He'll face a right-hander for the first time today. And Adam has had 18 career at-bats against Matt Belisle. 4 hits.
You can't walk him in this situation because you've got Ian Desmond on deck. When we say hitting is contagious, it's not necessarily the case. It's just guys all swinging while protecting each other. LaRoche is going to see something to hit right here.
So the Nats to this point, 2 runs on 3 hits against the Rockies bullpen that has been so good lately. We've mentioned Colorado's pen, 3.23 the ERA. A lot lower than their starting staff this year. By the way, not to be forgotten in all of this, Craig Stammen, 2 innings of 1 hit scoreless relief. Could be the winning pitcher down the road. 32 pitches, 20 strikes. 2-0. Ball 3.
Well, unless the Nats can keep this rally going and get it to a lead of more than 3, the save is going to come in the 8th inning with Colvin, Tulowitzki, and Kadire due up.
Four-pitch walk to LaRoche. The only saving grace for the Rockies here, the fact that Desmond's 0 for 5 career against Matt Belisle, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't swinging then like he is right now. So during his hitting streak now, he's hitting .393. Six for 9 in this series. Good breaking ball. Front door. Strike 1.
He's got 3 hits today, but he was the box summoner last inning. Second to third, third to home.
And remember, the wrong field base hit that you never saw got him there in the first place. He'll guide that one up the middle. Tulowitzki gets to it, can't get it out of his glove. The Nationals lead 5-3.
4th hit of the day for Ian Desmond,
and getting them every way possible.
And how hard is it to get a ball past Troy Tulowitzki? This one looked like it was ticketed for center field. Desmond is hot as anybody in baseball right now. Great effort by Tulowitzki. Couldn't get it out of his glove. And if he flips it, he gets the out at second base, and the Nats catch another break. Things all of a sudden start to go the Nats' way.
Zimmerman touching home plate. Desmond now hitting .404 during his hitting streak. 3 hits and a walk in this inning, and here's Anthony Rendon. Crazy things happening in this one. Rendon 1 for 3 today. He's keeping his hitting streak alive. Now sitting at 8 games. Tight slider away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nissan will track it.
Anthony Rendon right here for the Nationals has a chance to put this one on ice. Gets a 1-0 slider down the way.
Fastball really went diving down and in.
Yeah, I think that's the pitch to Rendon. You throw that slider away right here in a 2-1 count. We've seen him stay back, let that ball get deep, back it up, and hit it hard the other way.
Big breaking ball. That's a swing and a miss. Both runners move up.
So now a base hit puts the Nats up by 4. A wild pitch right here from Belisle. Watch this. Rendon thinking 2-1 fastball, pulls the string on the off speed, goes to the backstop, and now you wonder if he's thinking about throwing that pitch again with a runner on third base. Might have taken it out of his repertoire.
Counts 2-2. A good take on that same pitch, so he had the confidence in Willian Rosario to throw it again. Young catcher smothered it. Full count with Kurt Suzuki on deck here in the top of the 8th. Rendon takes the walk. On base for the second time today. Second walk of the inning. Bases loaded. And Kurt Suzuki 0 for 7 in this series, looking for a hit that would make everything in the series right for him. So LaRoche at third, Desmond at second, Rendon at first. Nats in Cleveland tomorrow night with Gio Gonzalez going against Justin Masterson. He has 8 wins on the year.
When we talk about Bryce Harper at a young age IDing pitches early and making the adjustments in the course of an at-bat, Anthony Rendon has showed everybody that he's capable of the same. He swung at that 2-1 curveball, sitting fastball, got fooled, and then ID'd 2 or 3 more right after that to get the walk. Didn't force the issue. Had a good idea of what the ball was going to do. Saw the rotation early and spit on some tough pitches.
Kurt Suzuki, a big cut on a pitch up. 0-2. Time given. No ball called.
Snooze.
And Belisle comes set on an 0-2. Suzuki manages to fight off that breaking pitch.
How long did he wait on that one? Looked like he took it right out of Rosario's glove.
Belisle taking a long time between pitches. Time given for the second time in this AB. Number 9 hitter Steve Lombardozzi waiting. This all started with 1 out on the Roger Bernardina pinch hit double. And the 0-2, Suzuki stays alive somehow again.
Sharks still trying to walk off that collision with Tulowitzki at second base. He's still feeling it. Right shoulder. Telling everybody where he's got it. And I don't know if he's going to stay in this game. Stay tuned.
Yeah, Lombardozzi's already in left. Davey might have considered bringing Roger in for defense. Meanwhile, Suzuki waging quite a battle here, and time given again. Ned Belisle just holding on to the ball forever. Suzuki has never faced him until this AB. Hits it hard, right at the second baseman, LeMahieu. But the Nats will pick up 2 in the 8th.
Well, a big pinch hit double by Roger Bernadita coming off the bench, hustling into second base, and then Ryan Zimmerman with his 34th RBI in 29 games at Coors Field to give him a 4-3 lead. Single by Desmond, 5-3 Nats. Nationals, and we go to the bottom of the 8th frame, and just like we promised earlier in the game, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time, and you have to talk about the box from Wilt Lopez. You see him go into his glove right there. James Hoy all over that one, and the second one a little harder. Watch his right hand. Does he just kind of goes in there again, and I think Bob Davison felt left out of the party. He called that balk right there. It tied the game at 3. The Nats scored 2 in the 8th. Wilt Lopez not happy. He got ejected. Dante Bichette, Ravit Torrealba arguing from the Rockies dugout.
Yeah, what was interesting about that second one, he kind of continued into the glove, but that little pause, and Davidson got him. Here we go, bottom 8. Xavier Cedeno. There's the other change. Roger Bernadita, despite the shoulder, he's going to play some defense in the left field. So the pitcher spot is back in the number 9 hole, and that is Xavier Cedeno for the Nats. The 26-year-old lefty picked up from Houston. And Cedeno in his second Nats appearance, 1 hit, 1 inning, 1 walk, 1 strikeout so far.
The Nats go early in the season with 1 lefty in Zach Duke, a long reliever, to lefties growing on trees all of a sudden in their bullpen.
Can't get enough of the southpaws now. It's a fastball right in there. It's Tyler Colvin, the hitter. Jeep inside the numbers last week or so. 21 innings. And the ERA 1.71. That's counting today with Stammen. Craig, 2 really good scoreless innings. The fastball just missing. Counts even 1-1. Tyler Colvin today 1 for 3, replacing Carlos Gonzalez with that RBI single back in the first.
Cedeno fastball 3/4, high 80s. He'll cut the fastball as well. Has a big looping curveball to go with the change. There's the curve.
Well, Steadweller get a no decision today, but his guys got him off the hook. Gave up 3 runs, 6 hits in 5 innings. Nice return to the rotation. Didn't walk anybody. Fastball inside, 3-1.
Yeah, people talk about quality starts all the time. My idea of a quality start is if you give up 5 and your team scores 6. If you give up 6 and your team scores 7. If you keep your team in a baseball game, that's the name of the game, to win the game. And that's what Ross Detweiler did today. Gave up 3 runs, kept his team in the baseball game, and did what he had to do. This whole stat of a quality start, it's about winning the baseball game. And it's about giving up less runs than the other team.
The only time I might disagree with you is you give up 10 and your guys score 11.
No, hey, it's a quality start. You won the game. That's what it's about. Ron Washington, the manager for the Rangers, used to talk about that all the time in Oakland. I got your quality start right here. It's if we score more runs than you and you keep us in a baseball game.
Yorvi Torrealba is on deck to hit for Troy Tulowitzki. So it's possible Tulowitzki isn't feeling well after that collision with Roger Bernardino.
Well, he dove for that Desmond ball up the middle. He got up slow. And just an awful day for the Rockies today. 3 superstars hitting the deck. Fowler, Gonzalez, and now Tulowitzki.
You know what? On that play, that was LeMahieu that Bernardino ran into. Because with the ball out in left center, Tulowitzki would have been out for a cutoff. So that was LeMahieu. So evidently the dive, we thought it was Tulowitzki first time we saw the replay. Trying to check that again just to make sure we get it right. Torrealba on deck here. A couple of guys beaten up. Tough game today for both. 3 balls and 2 strikes. No matter who's on deck, you don't want to walk anybody in the late innings here. That's a good job by Cedeno, throwing the strike and then spearing the one hopper. Now the countdown's down to 5 outs, and Torrealba will be the hitter. Single game tickets are on sale for Nationals Park games. Some of them start as low as $10. Drop by nationals.com/tickets. Check it out. Guys will be home a week from today against these Colorado Rockies.
These guys are digging what they've seen here today at Coors Field.
Yorvi Torrealba.
Davey Johnson going to the pen.
Well, couldn't do situational with lefties earlier this year. Now he can. Drew Storen was throwing earlier, and here he comes again. And Drew would love to forget what happened here Tuesday night with a great outing on Thursday afternoon. Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. Downtown Denver, home of Coors Field, here in what they call Lodo, lower downtown. Nats 5, Rockies 3, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. A little deeper into the bullpen. Good job by Xavier Cedeno to get that out. He gives way to Drew Storen. And when Drew gave up those 3 runs here on Tuesday, which he has forgotten about. That's the first time he's been scored upon in his last 8 outings. So he'll face Yorvit Torrealba here, who is 0 for 1 career against him.
And it could have been worse than those 3 runs he gave up. Ian Desmond made a nice play on a double play behind Drew.
Fastball sails up and in. Four strikeouts, 26 innings in 27 ball games for Drew, and he just opens up and sails those first 2 fastballs here. Unbelievable. Fowler, Gonzalez, Tulowitzki all out of this game today. The Rockies, good thing they got Michael Kadire back. He's on deck. That's a good heater. Rex Brothers is the only active pitcher in their bullpen right now that can claim a save this year. The other 11, Rafael Betancourt, is on the DL. Brothers, the left-hander. Storen gets a pop-up. Desmond out, under it. 2 outs. Battled back by Drew Storen, who now faces Michael Kadire. First matchup between these two ever.
And it's so important for Drew Storen, as is all pitchers, to get strike 1, but it allows him to get to his secondary pitches, the slider and the changeup, by jumping ahead.
There's that good slider for a strike. Stole a first pitch strike with it. Kadire 1 for 3 with a double off the right field wall. Another good breaking ball. Zimmerman has to back up. He'll get rid of it in a hurry. Adam LaRoche the stretch, and for Cedeno and Storen a 1-2-3 8th inning. Nats by 2 into the top of the 9th.
Loves Coors Field. 34 RBIs, 29 career games here at Coors Field, and we're going to give him the Kia drive of the game. We're going to give him the Kia drives of the game. He put his ball club up twice today. First time in the 3rd inning, a 2-run home run to make it 2-1 Nationals. And he came up in the 8th after the hustle double from Roger Bernardina, going the other way down the corner to make it 4-3 Nationals. So Ryan Zimmerman once again having a huge day here at Coors Field. Drive the Game is brought to you by Kia. Visit Kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. You think you can get on the plane?
Yeah. I will personally see to it. We'll get him some tickets for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
All right.
Jonathan Herrera moves from left field to shortstop. Yarvi Torrealba, after pinch hitting for Tulowitzki, will play first base. And that will put Jordan Pacheco from first base to left field. They've had 4 left fielders today, just so you know.
You just hope everybody's okay. I mean, just an unbelievable day for the Rockies in injuries.
And this will be Rex Brothers working as their closer right now. As mentioned, 2 saves on the year. And the Nats will pinch hit against the left-hander with Chris Marrero here. Davey still has Chad Tracy if needed. So Chris Marrero 0 for 1 on his return to the big leagues in the last week. Our #1 draft pick, hitting the ball great at Syracuse when he got the call. And he will hit a high bouncer to the right side for LeMahieu. First out.
And 32nd game of the year for Rex Brothers, 2-0. Look at the ERA, 0.31, 28 strikeouts to 16 walks. One is hitting just 202 against the big lefty. Pitched a fastball, slider change, fastball in the mid-90s.
25-year-old lefty, 75 games here last year when he went 8-2. Over the years, relievers have gotten a lot of victories pitching for the Rockies because of the high-scoring nature of this ballpark. Brothers lost his glove, but he got the assist. 2 outs, 2 quick outs.
Denard Span has had some tough luck in this series, hitting the ball back to the opposing pitcher. This time, Brothers tries to get a glove on it, slows it down, no panic, makes the throw to first.
And Denard Span 1 for 13 in the series. And as opposed to last night, this will be a safe situation for Rafael Soriano.
I wonder if Roger Bernardino is going to bunt right here with that shoulder.
Yeah, good call.
I mean, he couldn't
Rockies think so.
He couldn't even lift it up when we showed him in the dugout. He ran out to the outfield. Almost like Jeffrey Leonard with one flap down. He had that glove to his side, couldn't even pull it up. So either he's taking or bunting right here. I'll be surprised if he swings.
Check swing. Hope that felt okay. He didn't go. 2-0.
When a check swing is the worst thing you can do with a bad shoulder.
Yeah.
Starting it and then trying to put the brakes on. But he was swinging.
Bernardino does swing and pops it up out near second base. The call for Jonathan Herrera. 2 outs. We're at 3 outs, and here we go. Bottom of the 9th inning. Rosario, Arenado, and LeMahieu. Here comes Soriano. Seeking his 17th save, nailed down a 5-1 win with a scoreless ninth here last night. Nationals have struck out only 3 batters today. That's just fine. 3 times $37 to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health for every strikeout this season. That's our Toyota case for kids from the DC area Toyota dealers. Soriano will face Willeen Rosario, Nolan Arenado, and DJ LeMahieu for the Rockies' bottom 9.
27th appearance of the year for Soriano. ERA at 2.42. 21 strikeouts and just 5 walks. Opponents hitting 250 against the fastball slider cutter combination from Rafael Soriano.
Willeen Rosario against Rafael Soriano for the first time. For 3, the young catcher with an RBI ground ball today.
These guys made the trip. They might get on the plane to Cleveland with us. Some extra seats in the back. Bathroom's always open.
Well, there's a guy with United by the name of Eddie. You may need to call on that one.
Throw him in the lavatory. I'm sure they would gladly go.
(0-2). Soriano takes a little bit off, throws that soft slider at 81. Arenado 1 for 3 today. So is LeMahieu to follow him. Just missing away with 89.
A little cutter right here at 89. Looks like it just caught off the plate at the very end.
Got him on a fastball downstairs, hopping its way in at 91.
Yeah, as a hitter, when you take a close pitch with 2 strikes, you feel like you better be hacking in the same location. And that's what Rosario did right there on the fastball at 91. With that little cut and sink, actually. A little depth to that cutter right there from Soriano.
Arenado now, first time he'll face Soriano career. Davey Johnson trying to urge his ball club over 500 here and gain a half game on the Braves. As I mentioned earlier, Atlanta's in for a tough weekend. The Giants will be down in Georgia, while the Nats are in Cleveland, Ohio. Nationals haven't won a road series since taking 2 out of 3 at Pittsburgh early May. Look at that slider. Hey, by the way, if you're wondering about that home run streak, you know, 78 consecutive hit series.
I was, Bob.
I think in about 5 years they got a chance to tie the all-time record. Boston Red Sox 161 series from 03 to 06.
Just thinking about that. Thank you.
I know we lay awake at night, toss and turn on the charter, thinking about that.
I was going to Google it.
That pitch was hanging over the plate. Arenado has a 2-hit day. Good-looking young player. Very good at third base defensively. And he's aboard. That's getting the tying run into the batter's box.
And Todd Helton just jumped in the on-deck circle for the Rockies.
Yeah, well, he better. He's their only position guy left.
Well, that's why Walt Weiss hit Yolis Chacin to save Helton for this.
Yeah, barring a double play, he will bat. It's a good-looking fastball, just misses away. DJ LeMahieu, opposite field double. Back in the 4th. one elevated a little more than the first one. Got the corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Other than that hanger that Arenado just singled upon, everything has been down in the zone from Soriano here.
All 3 pitches in similar locations. Trying to stay away to the potential tie and run.
That's a strike. James Hoy has been given the low strike all day. LeMahieu didn't like the call.
Look at pitch track. These pitches are all like absolutely the same. All 4 down and away. Trying to get that ground ball double play.
Nats have turned 1 today. Got him looking. LeMahieu gave up on it. 2 outs.
I mean, if you're a hitter, you have to know that those are strikes based on what's happened in the course of this at-bat. They're all in the same spot. And you have to protect with 2. And now the game falls to Soriano versus Helton.
And they have faced each other in their careers twice. Soriano has walked in once. Official at bats, Todd Helton 0 for 2. So it comes down to one of the best sluggers in Rockies history against the Nats closer.
And he's thinking one thing, and this is a tough matchup for Soriano because this is a guy that can go the other way.
Runner down to second base. Nats not caring. All they care about, strike 1. Alfred Bernardino is about 3 steps in front of the track in left. He's actually playing deeper than Jason Worth is in right field.
Playing no doubles defense. Trying to keep Todd Helton off second base. The run at second doesn't matter.
Got him on the hands and 0-2 now. And the fastball delivered upstairs. Well, at least he changed the eye level of Todd Helton with that one. I guess he's been making his living low in the zone here.
What do you think about bouncing a slider right here? See if he'll chase.
One and 2. Breaking ball hit up the middle. Todd Helton gets the Rockies back to within a run.
Well, he tried to throw the slider to Helton. I guarantee if you're out there and ask him, he wanted to bounce it, but he left it up just enough for Helton to reach out and slap it up the middle. Clutch hit by Todd Helton, and I don't know. It's going to have to be a pitcher that pinch runs for Helton right here. And once again, drama.
It's going to be Tyler Chatwood.
Clutch piece of hitting by one of the all-time Rocky greats.
Well, and as you alluded to, a veteran hitter who knows if it's down there, I got to be hacking. You can't get rung up looking to end a ball game. So here's Jonathan Herrera, who's 1 for 2 since coming in for Dexter Fowler in the 5th inning. Soriano misses away. Herrera, first time he faces Soriano. Well, let me correct that. Actually, last night, leading off the 9th inning, he singled going the other way against the Nats right-hander. 2-0. You know what the Rockies are thinking right now? They want to win one for their guys in the clubhouse. It's up to Soriano to get this last out. 5-4 ball game. Tying run at first. And now a 2-2 count.
Well, late on that 2-1 fastball. You need to speed him up with a slider right here. Maybe think about that cutter in off the plate. See if he'll chase. You don't want it to get to 3-2 to give the runner a head start.
Little flare. Ian Desmond is there. The Nats win it. It took over 3 hours. And a series win on the road. Hasn't happened in a while. The Nats are back over 500.
Last out, shirt out. And why not? Taking a big series here against the Rockies. And what a difference a week makes. The Nats 8 games back of the Braves a week ago. Now, just 5.5 after this series here in Colorado.
On to Cleveland it is, while the Braves will battle the Giants all weekend in Atlanta. For FP and Julie, Bob Carpenter. The Nats hold on 5-4 and take the series. A 3-gamer begins in Cleveland tomorrow night. Nats Extra 6:30. This has been a Masson presentation. Dodge brings you Nats Extra straight ahead from the booth in Denver. See you later.